What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to the Nintendo Open Air Podcast. The news has finally dropped, and our Pokemon experience is evolving. Or devolving in some ways. The excitement has hit like a Draco meteor, but once you get a lock on the game's coming, you have to on the game's coming, you have to wonder, what is the future sight for Pokemon? Is this the title we've been hoping for? Is this the games we want? Stay tuned as we break down all the breaking news from Japan. So, the rumors were true. May did bring Pokemon news. Sort of a secret meeting appeared tonight.
Emily Rogers knows all.
Apparently. Yeah. Whoever this is, they've got a definite insight.
Probably Russian.
Probably. So, I guess we'll start...
a lot. 3 games?
Yeah. I guess we'll start with the biggest news, and that is we could get confirmed Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Surprise! Oh.
Yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go Vomit.
Good one.
I don't. As I was saying before we started, this is not the direction Pokemon needed to go. And I hope nobody minds if I just launch into a tirade on this, because I just think it's a terrible frigging idea.
I just watched the trailer. I don't know what's so bad about it, but I'm not a Pokemon fan.
Well, but you can get from what I'm getting at from the trailer. They're attaching yourself to a 2-year-old flash in the pan phone game that, sorry, Jason, hardly anybody plays.
He's been saying that all night. Sorry, Jason, because Jason plays Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I'm playing.
He's the scourge of the earth.
He's not the scourge of the earth.
Can't believe you've sunk to that level. Playing a wildly popular mobile game.
I'm shaming the podcast.
I'm apologizing to Jason because I don't want to shame him for playing a game that nobody else plays.
He knows how you feel about Pokemon Go. He has seen the gems change hands daily.
There are others who shall go unnamed that also play.
Not in this podcast, just me.
Is there anyone else in our circle that can be named?
Yeah, that can be named.
No, nobody that can be named, but can they be counted?
Eric plays it.
Is there 1 or 2 of them?
2?
Yeah.
I know of 2 people.
I know of 2 actually. Also, one I guess you could say was formerly in our circle.
So the same number of people that bought Lavo and Arms. What does that say?
Okay, I'll accept being compared to Labo owners, I guess.
But how many people really play most mobile games for that long?
You won't even be compared to an Arms owner. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that.
I don't mind Arms owner. It's okay.
No, it's not. Arms is terrible. But no, they attach themselves to Pokemon Go, which again, that was a big thing for a moment, but most people have moved on. And then there's another weird accessory. What is it? A joystick? Is it some sort of adult toy? Yeah, I mean, right?
It's a ball with a wrist strap.
Yeah, it's the new Pokeball Plus.
It doesn't even vibrate.
Yeah, it should. Pokemon Go Plus, right? Which was this device that by the time it came out, nobody cared anymore.
Or by the time you could get it, nobody cared anymore.
Yeah, well, pardon me. By the time
it was out and people wanted it, but they only had like 2 per store.
Yeah, that's true. So
that was a Nintendo move.
Is, and then otherwise, it looks like exactly what I was hoping to God they wouldn't do, an HD version of just Pokemon Sun and Moon, basically. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like... Oh, go ahead.
It's an HD version of every Pokemon game that's ever been made.
Yeah, exactly.
Red, blue, and yellow.
With a few new gimmicks, just like every Pokemon game that's ever come out. They always add some new gimmick. This is the new gimmick, this Pokemon Go integration, but it's still...
But if Pokemon Go was your first ever Pokemon game, this is a natural... evolution.
And don't get me wrong, it's kids left and right that I hear and see carrying them, asking for them, etc. I mean, adults. There's plenty of adults that have them too, but it seems like they're fake catering to adults. They're showing adults in the commercials but that's so that kids think this is a grown-up thing that they want.
I mean, yeah, it starts with some alcoholic riding his bike. And,
I believe that is a child in the beginning.
Oh.
With a somewhat imaginary Pikachu, because he kind of goes in and out of transparency there.
Yeah, it's a ghost Pikachu.
Yes, so the kids either got
Casper the Pikachu,
weird separation anxiety issues, or as you know,
hallucinating.
As Mo thought, is just a very young looking alcoholic.
Yeah,
or maybe a very young alcoholic.
Deweys. Got too many Deweys. Now he's riding his bike, playing. But there is cross integration with the phone in this, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can always be playing Pokemon.
I would assume you can trade your Pokies back and forth, yeah? Stuff that you catch in Pokemon Go. That's the other thing that's weird. Like, they've always been real hardcore about mainline Pokemon series Pokemon, right? Because of the competitive scene, which there's always been, which is so bizarre. But the competitive scene with Pokemon. So they've, right, mainline Pokemon are mainline Pokemon, and you've never really been able to transfer from a non-mainline Pokemon game into Pokemon. So this is kind of a big deal, and I assume, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I assume they'll just be assigned some...
Transfer your 30 Rattatas or whatever.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand, because in Pokemon Go, the Pokemon do have IVs, and they're based on a very simplified version of IVs in the game, in the main series game. So I'm wondering, things like that. If you've got a perfect IV Pokemon and you transfer it to the game, will it still have perfect IVs? What about shiny Pokemon? Will they remain shiny? I guess they will, but
shinies probably would. Well, it was the same questions with when they brought the old school Pokemon games to 3DS, and I don't know what the answer to those questions were.
And also remember they had just trademarked the name Ultra Shiny, so will that appear in this game, you think?
Oh, quite possibly. But this should have been...
They haven't necessarily confirmed it's OG 151, right?
Yeah, they have. It will be a remake, basically.
I know that was one of the rumors. I just wasn't sure if it was confirmed.
I don't know, man. Here's another thing I'll throw out. I know that what's it called? One of the selling points of that Yokai Watch was there was a catch mechanic that required you to actually physically do something. There was a skill shot.
Yeah, there was some sort of thing to it.
So them including that in Pokemon, even though it's kind of a takeaway from Pokemon Go, is also kind of a toss in that direction to try to, be a little more like Yokai Watch, which has taken over, in Japan these days. Or at least it did. I don't know if it's still, but for a few years there, right? It was a big deal.
They've had replacing 2 or 3 or 4 games over there. I mean, I know they've had more games than we got.
It was a big deal because I guess McDonald's in Japan had Pokemon, had Pokemon stuff forever since Pokemon came out, and they started replacing them with Yokai Watch items.
I know the watch from Yokai Watch was like a hot toy that was everywhere in Toys R Us. Like you could get them a dime a dozen, but in Japan, they were like very much the hot in-demand toy that nobody could get a hold of. And there was an anime for Yokai as well that is also, I think, on Netflix now.
I saw them for cheap on clearance and still didn't buy one. Go ahead, Jason.
They tried to do it with Pokemon before with Sun and Moon. Remember, they had that huge bracelet that you could put.
Oh yeah, the Z ring, whatever.
Z-ring.
Those were going. Remember, I sent you guys a picture of that when I was at the Toys R Us clearance. They were like those were like $3 or $4, and it was like, nope, still not buying it.
Sounds like some sort of birth control.
What are IVs again? They determine the skills you get.
That's individual values, which is
stats.
The individual stat of the Pokemon.
Okay.
But I mean, talking about that, also there's the thing of level. I guess the Pokemon do have a level from up to 40 in Pokemon Go, but it's basically CP based. How are they going to translate CP to level? There's a lot of unanswered questions.
We're going to need a conversion chart for this.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be kind of complicated. And again, it just seems like if this is a mainline Pokemon game, I don't know how this is a weird precedent.
It might also just transfer the Pokemon at starter level, like at base level or something.
That's possible.
And it has mentioned that these Pokemon are going into like a park within the game, so who knows what functionality they'll have in the game.
If the same as the assist trophy park in Smash Brothers, we can just view them all.
Right.
Well,
something like Pokemon.
This is where you go to capture them, right?
No, I think that this.
So I'm thinking of the Dream World. Remember, you would meet a Pokemon in the Dream World, and then you had to go catch it in your game. It would appear in a little park area, right? And you'd have to go throw a ball at it and catch it like a regular Pokemon. It would always catch, right? It was one of those.
But I think this is just a straight up transfer from the video. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay, we'll see.
From watching the trailer, I love this catch mechanic because I'm getting visions of the Wiimotes stuck in people's TVs or smashing people's screens.
Well, here's the thing though. I think the Joy-Cons are light enough that you'd like even if you pitched it at your TV, it's just gonna be a little scrape or a dent. That's the difference.
We'll get back to you next week, folks. He's gonna zip one at his TV.
Wait, but you said it's confirmed for original 151, but it's a remake of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, didn't they? Wasn't that like generation? No.
No, it's a remake of Pokemon Yellow, which was like the second tier original generation game.
It was first generation. It was a remake of the first generation.
Pokemon Yellow was a remake of Green,
Pikachu.
Blue, and Red.
Yeah, to focus on Pikachu because he was the breakout star.
He was the star, and it also integrated the anime stuff because the cartoon was the hot thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Pikachu would follow you like he did in the anime.
See, I'm a Pokemon master. I know it all. Who's excited?
I'm not. I mean, in my other gripe, they haven't mentioned the Pokebank at all. We don't know if there's going to be any integration for that. And again, Pokemon has always been first and foremost about social stuff, trading, battling, etc. And that's the direction they should be expanding the Pokemon franchise. This should be their flagship persistent world MMO. It absolutely should. And they're just blowing it with this crap. And I don't think it's going to do well. I think it's going to
I don't know if this is really a mainline game, though.
Yeah, I think it is.
It really seems to be.
You don't think there's going to be a Gen 8 one? You don't think, you don't think this is just like a holdover?
So there has been a confirmation that we are getting that they were going to continue to make Pokemon games for Switch in 2019. And everybody's thinking automatically that's when we're getting Gen 8. So we'll see.
Well, then how is this mainline if you go from Gen 7 to original 151?
Well, it can still be mainline if it's...
Yeah, I guess so.
It can be mainline if you can still import the other Pokemon. Right? The main game can only have the original 151 available for you to capture. But if you can still pull the others from the bank or whatever, then it still qualifies as a main game if it's got at least all the ones from the previous game accessible.
Yeah, and in 2 weeks we've got E3 coming up. I'm sure, and it's a long way. It's a long road to November. We'll probably hear a lot more details about things that are in this game that we don't necessarily know yet, that we may or may not hate.
We will,
but there is a long time.
We can already tell it's not the game it should have been. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
It's not what it should have been. It's not the Breath of the Wild of the Pokemon franchise. It's not the Odyssey of the Pokemon. It's not even the Odyssey of the Pokemon franchise. It's just the next iteration.
But you know what it is?
To be HD.
It's a Pokemon game coming the same year as Smash Brothers. Pokemon and Smash, same year. Is this enough to push 20 million units?
No. What were you going to say, Jason?
I was going to say, it isn't so much that I had to have a Breath of the Wild or an Odyssey game in Pokemon form. It's just I wanted something different.
That's what I mean. Something big. Like, I don't mean a Breath of the Wild Pokemon. I just mean Breath of the Wild took the Zelda formula and just blew it wide open.
How are the little cards going to play into this?
Odyssey took Mario and really did it up very nice. And it's still just a Mario game. It's not as much of a complete reboot as Breath of the Wild was, but it's still a beautiful, top-notch rendition of a Mario game. And this is just HD Sun and Moon. It really looks like it.
But it's not even Sun and Moon. It's HD Pokemon
Yellow.
Yeah.
Well,
with some Sun and Moon features.
Yellow and brown.
Well, but I mean, just that it looks like HD Sun and Moon. I mean, it's the graphics and the textures and the way that the gameplay and the controls, et cetera, et cetera. It looks like an HD version of XY, Ruby, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun Moon. It looks just like an HD version of the new 3D reboot of Pokemon. And I don't think that's going to fly in 2018. A year and a half after the reboot of Nintendo as a company with the Switch, this is a relic of the past. What I was ranting about earlier with the Pokemon Go, right? There's this mythical audience that pops up every so often that Nintendo occasionally taps into, and then they're gone. They vanish. It's right. It came with the Wii. It came with Pokemon Go, and to a far lesser degree, it's at least the Switch has piqued its interest, but it's only there for a moment, and I don't think it's there in any kind of quantity that it's going to sell this new Pokemon game.
It's easy to have a flash in the pan. It's hard to sustain. You're never going to have Wii-like. I mean, even the Wii didn't really have Wii-like numbers. A bunch of people bought it, but I don't think those people sustained and kept playing it throughout its life cycle.
There were some fans. There were the core fans, but the vast majority of people, it gathered dust or it became a Netflix box.
And they obviously their fandom over to the Wii U. So it's it's all fleeting. But I think this is an okay thing. Like as a non-Pokemon fan who has no
intentions to purchase this.
No intention, no dog in this fight. Whatever, no skin in the game. It's like I feel like it's a entry point Pokemon for people who are not Pokemon fans to get into the series in a simple way with a stupid catch mechanic.
I agree with you, Momo. It seems all right to me.
I should be logging into an online world to go on quests to find Pokemon with a party of strangers.
You should log on to r/Pokemon and see how they're dealing with it.
Well, right, but it's like I'm thinking of an MMO. I'm thinking of like the caves in Pokemon. Jason, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That should be a 5-man dungeon.
Remember your failure at the cave.
Exactly. There should be a series of dungeons throughout this Pokemon world that we have, this shared map that you have to party up with people to go through the cave and try to take down the big Pokemon and everyone gets him or whatever.
I guess I would even be happy if they had just made this something more along the lines of the GameCube era of games where it was like a 3D kind of environment where you had a more upright character. It wasn't so much of a top-down look, just a more mature look to it. I would be happy if they just did that.
Yeah,
you're like walking through the grass and you can see the grass is shorter than your legs, or whatever.
And when are we going to get Snap 2?
Are you talking about a first person, Jason, or are you talking about like a third person over the shoulder?
Like a third person over the shoulder, or either one. Something different than the same top-down pose.
Something that feels more like a real
first-person Pokemon
instead of you're walking around on a map.
Right.
You want Zelda Pokemon.
I don't necessarily want. I don't necessarily want Breath of the Wild. Nintendo occasionally does, in fact, offer you something that you didn't know you didn't want, or you didn't know you wanted.
GTA
I don't want a handheld game on the Switch. I want something updated, something new. Pokemon is ready to take another step.
Yeah, I don't want.
And it has with Pokemon Quest.
Oh, good Lord. No.
Yeah, we have.
I'm giving up on my bloopy metaphor, but it was a good one. But go ahead, Jason.
I guess Mo's wanting to roll us into the next topic as we're.
Oh, I don't care if you got more on this one. This is the big is the big bite.
I think one thing that we have left out is talking about there is a new way to play this game, and it's local co-op.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's worth mentioning. Talking about the new play style with the picking up the ball and throwing it. By the way, they didn't show curveballs in there. If you play
two balls at once,
yeah,
I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
You and a friend can play local co-op, and you can both throw a ball at the same time to catch one Pokemon. Two become one, and
the balls like merge, and it's kind of like that.
Is this just a way for your girlfriend to do something while she watches you play video games? Like, it's like, here, you hold this, you can help me catch this guy, or your kid, or whatever. Like,
I don't,
because only one person I would imagine is going to walk there. Or did it show two trainers?
It showed two trainers.
I don't. It seems, and we'll see how that works. But it's like you pull the Joy-Con off, you shake it, and the other trainer appears. So I imagine it's a lot like the second player on a bunch of the side scrollers that they add. That really just ends up doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
What if you're a natural fidgeter and you shake?
Yeah, who knows? But I don't know. It feels like a tack on, like most of these do.
Yeah. One interesting point there that maybe is a benefit to players: you can play the game with a single Joy-Con. So you could, if you can get used to it, you could do it one-handed. You could play the whole game probably. With
just like Super Mario Run, the smash hit, available now.
Well, were you to flip it sideways, you have the same buttons as on a 3DS, at least an OG 3DS. So that makes sense. You still have the same number of buttons and everything, and your 4 attack buttons. I'm
still not sure with that Pokeball accessory. Okay. If you can actually walk around with that, and
okay, so how I understand this works?
Because how many wrist straps are you going to have attached to your hand at one time?
The new Pokeball Plus it's not exactly a Pokemon Go Plus. It's a object which I think is like this card thing that we've probably seen with the copyrights or whatever that is recently. Basically, you put a Pokemon into it, and you can transfer it. You can like take it with you and go on a walk with it. And it doesn't really say what you gain from that. It shows them,
Can you hatch eggs?
Oh. No, I don't.
Maybe.
While you're
I assume it works like the Pokemon Go thing, where it every so often it'll tell you you're near a Pokemon.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's like a pedometer. Like it'll count your steps, like you're walking your Pokemon.
Well, but now the Pokemon Go Plus would tag to your phone's GPS, and if it knew you were near a Pokestop, for example, you could just tap the thing and it would scan the Pokestop for you. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems like maybe that could work the same way. Go ahead, Jason.
This is basically the device, though, that is meant to transfer Pokemon between your mobile phone and the Switch. That's what this new Pokeball Plus is. That's its main function. No, that's what I'm understanding.
That's terrible.
And it looks like it's probably going to be, if the temporary little pop-ups that came up on, I think, Amazon or something, somebody was posting about on Twitter, it was $30. So it's a pretty hefty.
But if you're lucky, Nintendo will release a $90 version of the game that comes with it included.
That's right.
For a limited time.
I think I paid $12 for that nice metal and plastic Pokeball I got. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Jason.
No, that's fine. But it does function as a Pokemon Go Plus in addition to that.
Yeah. And it plays sounds.
Yeah.
Mine functions as a Wii grinder.
Yeah. If you've ever gone to Target, you'd know those Pokemon Plus wristbands are selling like crazy. And at Best Buy, too. So God knows we need another version of that.
That's right. If you're too embarrassed to walk around with a small thing attached to your arm.
A small flat thing. Then a big ball that'll be a conversation. This will be a big conversation starter if you put it in your pocket.
Yep. But the other thing is... Either one.
Yeah. It'd be a different conversation.
But we did notice, kind of looking through the gameplay video again, that it does seem to have buttons on it, and you can play the game with this Pokeball.
It looks like it's a joystick.
Yeah,
right?
It's basically a Joy-Con.
It's pretty simplistic controls. Like really, that's kind of even weirder to me. The one-handed control. It's like it seems like it's ultimate couch potato. I guess they're appealing to the mobile fan.
Mm-hmm.
You just hang out, play it with one thing. It's got the motion control that Z loves. You actually throw it to throw your Pokeball.
I wonder if you have to like throw it to catch it. Can you like just have the Joy-Con?
You probably assign a button.
Yeah.
I'm sure
you hit the ZR button or something.
Have the option of turning that off. I'm sure you do.
We hope.
But why would you?
I wouldn't. But I know for some people that don't consider Waggleware a legitimate gaming experience, that they might want to turn.
But think about how many
Pokemon
you encounter and catch in a mainline game. That's going to get old after a while.
Yeah.
No, that'll never get old. Not if you have the Pokeball Plus.
That's right.
Oh no, man! Tapping through menus to pull out your Pokeballs these days is bad enough.
That's true.
Yeah. It'll be the coolest kid on the block. I don't know. I think it's gonna do. I think it'll do okay, but like I said, I really feel like this is more geared for. This is like a first taste kind of thing to get you into the world of Pokemon before they drop the mainline game in a year or two. That'll bring everyone together.
That's right. So, I think
it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Move on to the bigger game.
Yeah, we really need to talk about the bigger game out of the 3 little tidbits we got here, and it is Pokemon Quest. We have all downloaded and played it now before the podcast. We want to give you the
as
full
much
research.
as we could before we just had to friggin'
Much as
stop.
we could stomach. Yeah.
That's a good
I think
way
you
to
got
put
the furthest, Jason, right? Mo, you shut it off.
I shut it off before you did. Yeah.
If that's a sign of anything, that's the quality of this new game.
And how many hours?
Loved it.
How many hours have you put into Pokemon Shuffle, Mo?
Oh man, I don't know. Hundreds though. I mean, I'm probably over 500.
So like you have a precedent of liking, shitty Pokemon spin-off games.
Yeah. Well, I like puzzle games. I'm a fan of puzzle games, so yeah, I thought that was cool. I wouldn't know anything about Pokemon if it hadn't been for Shuffle. That's the only place I've heard half of these Pokemon names at. I wouldn't know or recognize. I still don't recognize the Pokemon like when I see them in the Badge Arcade, because all I see in Pokemon Shuffle is their head.
Well,
so like,
even
I'm like, oh, that's what his body looks like.
Even those of us that recognize Pokemon see the Pokemon in this Pokemon Quest game and go, "Who the hell is that?" And what the hell does his body look like? Yeah, that's
so
what
it's basically a Minecraft art style of the big blocky stuff. So
because
like even
that's what made Minecraft a thing.
Yeah, even somebody like Z had to say, which Pokemon is that supposed to be? At the beginning of the game.
Yeah, like when I saw Meowth and it's like, hey, that's a Meowth. I'm like, what?
Something seriously is wrong with that Meow.
Yeah, no, dude, it's roadkill. It doesn't. What the hell is that? No, they're terrible looking. Why would you pick this as an art style? I think maybe they're appealing to young children who are familiar with Minecraft, but were too young to actually play it. So they're just like, hey, look, it sort of looks like Minecraft.
Or they designed the engine for something that they threw away, like Mario Papercraft. And they were like, hey, we got that Mario engine laying around still. Why don't we just throw some Pokemon skins on it?
Maybe.
Has anyone seen those? They're not Lego. They're like off-brand Lego. They're like Pokemon, and I think they come with like a Pokeball that you build. And you the Pokemon.
Yeah, my nephews have those. Have some of them.
That's what this looks like.
The little mini, they're like mini Lego ones. Are you talking about?
Yeah, if you get one Pokemon in a box.
They've got like a Charizard in them or something.
Yeah. I'm staring at a bunch of Mickey ones that the wife has.
I don't understand Paris move, but.
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say I didn't understand why of all the Pokemon they wanted to make one of Paris.
But Pokemon Quest, as I guess we sort of implied, is available now if you've got a Switch, which if you're listening to this, you probably do.
It looks, feels, and plays like a free-to-play game. Would we all agree?
It plays itself, at least for the first half.
Yeah, it kind of does significantly play itself.
And if you play it long enough, you can get microtransactions.
That's right.
Which Jason's the only one who's unlocked microtransactions in the game.
Yeah, Mo and I all just couldn't deal with it any longer. How much further did you get than me, Jason? Just a couple minutes, right?
Yeah, less than 5 minutes.
No, we couldn't even get to the point where they asked you for money. They failed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We were already bored before they even asked us if we wanted to pay for more.
Yep. So,
which I guess you get like with the Animal Crossing Leaf tickets, like you get it to speed up time. Well, I guess that's a common mobile game mechanic. You can wait forever, or you can pay $1 or whatever it is. Which we talked about with when Pocket Camp came out. Like as Nintendo fans, we'll wait.
Yeah.
Pay $1 or wait an entire day. I got time. It's like that's your if you're into this Pokemon Quest, or even if you're not, this could just be added to your list of daily Nintendo waiting games.
Yeah.
Like Camp.
You play for 5 minutes until you reach another part where it makes you wait for another 2 days to get the next 5 Pokemon.
Set a reminder to turn the game back on in 2 days. I don't think it's going to be a big money maker, but again, it seems like it's very mobile-y and obviously very much is designed for children exclusively.
I don't know. There's an awful lot.
It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of menus.
Yeah, there's a ton of menus, a lot of reading, and like it's kludgy and complicated with the cooking and the crafting and all this other crap. It's terrible. Man, it's just I don't.
It looked to me for some reason it looked to me a little bit like Pushmo, and I don't know why. It's like Pushmo and Minecraft had a kid.
To me, it's more like Minecraft and Pocket Camp had a kid.
Yeah,
like this really feels very, very mobile-y to me.
And it's touch control. And is this one available on mobile as well?
It will be in June, so next month.
June, so yeah.
Yeah, so they're building the hype for it now on Switch.
Oof. Beta tested on Switch.
I have to say, I've played at least one iteration of all the Pokemon spin-off games, and I generally enjoy them. Everything from Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Pinball. I even played Pokemon Shuffle for a while. This literally made me sick to my stomach after playing it for a while. It was nauseating.
Just like Pocket Camp?
Oh.
No, this was much worse than Pocket Camp.
And I've never heard Jason trash anything that way. Like that's as extreme as he gets. Like
that's pretty bad.
I was looking for a point at which I felt it was a good time to stop. So it stopped.
You're pretty diplomatic. You give everything the benefit of the doubt. And
I try to.
Again, he put more time in.
You're the fairest and kindest of us all. That's true. He tried. He really did.
And I'm debating now if I want to delete it later tonight or do I want to try it again. Am I that much of a glutton for
But isn't it refreshing to have a game on Switch before mobile for a change?
That's true.
It would have never got on my Switch if the mobile version came out at the same time or before.
Yeah,
but it's a free download. It's a free game on the Switch.
And I bet you it's going to have millions of downloads on Android and iPhone.
Yeah, I'm sure. The only other free game I know of is the PETA game, right? Or PETA.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think so. I enjoyed the PETA game more. I actually ran across somebody the other day, or maybe it was somebody that sent me a friend request from like Rocket League or something, and they had 5 hours in the PETA game.
Wow.
I was like, which I mean, it's really not a bad game. It's just not good either. I got one of my friends to download it too. He's like, I beat the first boss, and then I stopped playing it. I was like, you got further than I did.
There's bosses?
I guess so. Or there's like quests or whatever that you complete. So he completed the first quest. Oh well. But yeah, there's not a ton of free to play stuff. It's hard to tell what's free to play and what's demos anymore. But yeah,
in my case, speaking of stuff, and I don't know if I'm jumping topics, but just I got the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Oh yeah,
and it's so friggin' late that it feels like free to play because I've forgotten that I put money down on it for the Kickstarter like 3 years ago.
Still waiting on the main game.
Yeah, the main game still hasn't come out. But yeah, I mean, that one's a good time. I don't know if it's worth $10, but if you're Inti Creates, who made who's done, what do? They did Azure Striker
stuff.
Gunvolt.
Didn't they do?
Did they do Mighty Gunvolt? Yeah. The little 8-bit one of that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they did. They did also the Blaster Master Zero, which I've brought up before, and I really enjoyed. So they're really good at remaking these 8-bit games and making them feel and play much better than they ever did in the old days, but still retain the same vibe.
For 8-bit, the trailer makes it look good. The music seems like it's pretty solid. It's kind of, I'm sort of half tempted.
It's you know, I mean, again, I for me it's just a freebie thrown in on the Kickstarter, so hell yeah, it's great. But I don't know if I'd drop $10 on it. It's very Castlevania, and I've
not in a good way.
Well, it depends. Like,
yeah, I mean, I want to. Castlevania is another one of those ones that I want to like. Like I've got them. I've got the first 3 on Nintendo, and I'll pick them up and play them, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this as much as I want to.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, I've read reviews from people that were fans of the Castlevania series and rave about this homage to the original Castlevanias. Whereas to me, and I guess they nailed it, because I'm just as annoyed with it as I am with an original Castlevania game, with the way the controls are and But
Aria of Sorrow is my favorite in the series, by the way, and that's what the Bloodstained Ritual of Night will be, is like a Metroidvania style one, which the original Castlevanias weren't, and this one's not, as far as I can tell.
No, it's pretty linear. People compare it more to like a Mega Man, like an original Mega Man game.
Yeah, it looked like Castlevania 3 to me, especially with the character switching and stuff.
Yeah,
this.
Other people have referred to it as 3. Yeah, sorry I jumped ahead. It was just I was thinking about stuff I got for free, and again I didn't really. Oh, and they were late on the codes. So what I got is I got a temporary code for Steam, which doesn't show
they revoke.
Yeah, they'll eventually revoke it. It will disappear from my library on June 8th. But I'm supposed to have my code by then for Switch. But any of my gameplay, obviously, like I've unlocked. Here's a stupid thing: is I've unlocked a bunch of achievements on it, just a few. But those achievements, like nothing. There's no evidence that I own the game on my Steam profile. It's like a secret, hidden game. Like it says that I've unlocked achievements, in the little game profile page.
Because they're late, they should have just given you that one too.
Yeah, I was.
It doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah, exactly. I was admittedly, I was a little bit miffed. I mean, technically, they didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Except, your codes are late. So, okay, you're doing something, and I give you credit for that. But I am mildly miffed that they couldn't just give us free ones. That said, from what I understand, the Inti Creates thing, like that's their thing. They're selling it. Like it's not. But the $10 is not going through the.
I don't know. The story idea is written by Iga or whatever.
Well, yeah, but he specifically said he didn't have a lot of he didn't really have any input in the gameplay design or any of that. He said he stayed out of that.
But I was afraid that this was to fund the main game, but they're releasing this now because they still don't have enough money to finish the main game.
I certainly hope not. I mean, they've shown a fair amount, and they seem to be in the final stages based on everything. It's just they're taking forever. And again, from what I understand, all the money goes to Inti Creates for this. Maybe there's probably some relationship, but you know what I mean, is they're making a point to say this is a totally separate operation, and it's other than the fact that we kind of commissioned the story and yada yada, that we're not really directly involved in this.
I'm getting the mighty number 9 chills.
Yeah,
I hope
Hopefully.
not. I mean, I'm the only one that dropped money on it, so I
I'm
guess
pulling
I'll find
for
out. I am.
I'm pulling for them. I want it to be
seems
good.
like they've taken forever, but they've eventually very, very slowly and gradually produced. The only 2 Kickstarters I ever were on were this and Ukulele came out pretty much on, not, I think, a few months past when they originally said they were. Really pretty close to on schedule. Not, of course, for Switch, but that was what it was. I originally wanted the Wii U version. Like everybody else that did that, they all, sent out a mailer at some point saying, sorry, guys, we're switching this, and yours is going to be late.
There's that famous Miyamoto quote, a delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is around forever.
Yeah, but not anymore. A bad game is patched to be good.
It's patched day 1 and then continually until it's time for the next version to come out.
Yeah. But I mean, there's tales on Steam if you read reviews of games that are just terrible at launch, and then after a few rounds of patches come out, people rave about them. And like apparently all of the last 3 Civilization games have all been like that. They're just a nightmare when they come out. They're a disaster. And then about a year after,
Rocket League is the reverse of that.
Oh, it just gets worse.
It was perfect for years, and now all of a sudden it started getting all these weird bugs and stuff that they never had before.
Part of that's probably because all of a sudden, well, I don't know where they've ported besides. I don't know what their port history has been, but that's what I mean.
Everywhere except for mobile.
The more crap you port to, if you're trying to have a unified online multiplayer experience like they do, the more crap you port to, just the more bugs.
Yeah.
Which is why, right, that's the argument some devs have used for not supporting the Switch, is it's just having another platform to support is just a whole additional can of worms that is it worth it? You got to be, it's got to be worth the money.
Yeah. The Switch is a whole other can of worms by itself,
Yeah. More
from
so
what developers seem to say, like they all have a hard time with getting things right on Switch because it's just different enough probably in how it works from all the other consoles.
And see, but it's all a matter of scale. Nintendo is always different from other consoles. It's just a matter of how much. Like now, at least they're pretty close. They're using most of the same hardware. They're using the same APIs. They're using the same engines. Like in the Wii days, it was a joke. Wii U joke. N64 joke.
Virtual Boy joke.
Virtual Boy, absolutely. And I love mine. I'm looking at mine right now, or at least the box it's in, and I love it.
I'm
admiring it.
All right.
Sorry, we were what the hell were we supposed to be talking about?
Pokemon Quest. Oh, I think I don't know what more we can say about that other than
it's ugly and
got a bellyache.
Yeah.
Go play it for yourself if you don't believe us, and
give it a shot. Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah,
hit us up on NOA_podcast.
Tell us you really like that game.
Yeah, tell us how we're wrong.
Yeah, tell us why we're wrong about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
it probably gets really good after you start pumping money into it.
Yeah. For $20 or $40 into it.
Yeah.
It'll all be grand.
Or 828.
Yeah.
That's only Eric. That's it's threshold for satisfaction in the game. All right. Well, we had another bit of big news this week, and I think it's one that we'd probably talked about on the podcast before, and we're kind of surprised it actually happened, and that is Nintendo Switch second set. And of course, this is Japan only. I'll go ahead and say that up front. So basically, through the Japan My Nintendo store, you can order a Nintendo Switch console that comes with the Joy-Cons and straps, and that's it. You can customize the cards or Joy-Cons.
Save yourself a cool $50 in the process.
Yep, you save yourself right at $50. So,
which you should be saving yourself $120 for what they sell for those pieces individually, but that is what it is.
Yeah.
We all kind of knew that going in that they were tacking on cheap pieces to make up for the cost of the pricey core component, so that's all right. I think if $250 is what I would have expected the first time we saw a dockless Switch release.
Yeah.
So
it is like I said, it's difficult because you don't want to put it in the same ballpark as the 2DS XL or 3DS XLs, because then it's like, well, why buy one of those? So but it is Japan only. I think it would do well in the US.
Well, it's also, I gotta imagine that it's still more expensive to produce than those as well. But
if you ever want the whole thing, you just go and buy a dock separately, and you've got the thing.
Yeah. Well, you've got to buy a dock and a Joy-Con holder for the
HDMI cord.
Well, okay.
HDMI cord if that doesn't come with the dock.
Oh,
what all comes with the dock?
Or maybe it does.
What all comes with the dock?
Yeah,
he's got 12 of them. He can tell us.
It comes with an HDMI cable and a power cable. The dock.
Okay, so you get everything with the Joy-Con grip.
Yeah, what do you mean you get everything with the Joy-Con grip?
That's the only thing you would miss.
If you buying it this way. But you can pick those up, or you can buy the better charging one, or hey, just throw it in the garbage and get yourself a
HDMI cable. You get a second power supply, presumably, right? If you buy the dock separate.
Yeah, you got one.
So that's a bonus. And then that Joy-Con grip, you can't buy the non-charging one by itself. You would have to buy the charging one for $30.
But even better, you could get 2 green Joy-Con.
That's right.
True.
I threw up a picture here on the feed, so if you're watching on YouTube, check it out. A guy named Sada, or it could be a gal. I'm sorry, I don't really know this person, but I think it's pretty sweet. Check out these photos.
I think it's a cat.
It actually is a cat, which can still be male and female, but
it's going to lay in that box afterwards.
Yes. That right there. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing if you're like me and Mo and desperately want green Joy-Con.
Is that a Mario red and a neon green?
It looks like it.
That is glorious.
That's pretty glorious. I have the reverse of that.
But go ahead and break everyone's heart. Nintendo of America has officially said there's no plans to release this configuration in the Americas. So
that to
just
me
wouldn't work here.
No plans for now. There is zero doubt, I think, in any of our minds that this will eventually, at some point, this will be available in the US this way. You don't think they'll ever release it this way?
I mean, the thing is with Japan, it's the same reason they get all the cool shit. It's a smaller. I mean, it's still a country, but it's a smaller audience. If they've got to serve up custom Joy-Cons with systems, now they might possibly at some point do like a black or a neon like this. I could see, but they'll never do the custom option. I don't think.
Maybe not. Okay, the custom options possibly. I just mean the bare Switch. That to me is an absolute given. That at some point Nintendo's going to think, all right, there's some number of people out there who still haven't bought one just because they think of it as a TV console or they don't want the dock. You know what I mean? You know how Nintendo thinks. At some point they're going to decide there's some untapped market out there of people who want the Switch without the dock. That's going to come to them like an epiphany 5 years after people have been screaming at them about it.
You know what I would be interested in?
Actually happen.
I would be interested in a Switch that's like this with a like a 2DS, like a regular 2DS sort of version of the Switch that maybe is more rugged, even if it didn't have Joy-Con that came off or something like that, like something that could actually hold up to a child.
Well, that's what they're selling this as a option for people who want more than one Switch in your home. If you already have one Switch, maybe you want one for the kids or something.
I don't see them making a more rugged Switch. I see them shoveling that off to third party. Right? Remember all the Nerf.
Give us a Nerf case.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have
that somehow doesn't overheat the system.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't.
You could do it with like bumpers on the corners and things like that.
Yeah, something that's not a complete skin. That I agree, because that thing gets warm, man.
Yeah, those Amazon kids tablets have the little like a Nerf thing that goes around them. I guess they could do that and just cut holes in the sides for the Joy-Con to fit through.
They just gotta make sure all the vents are good and they're not covering up, plastic parts that get too hot, and
and then if you drop it on its face, the screen is somehow protected.
Yeah, it's got a little ridge that sticks up all around it, kind of thing. Yeah, I think they can do it, and I think it'll be third-party cases. That'll be the job of. I just don't know when there will be good ones. There's something awkward about the removable Joy-Cons. That's the thing, though. Is I don't know if we'll ever see one without removable Joy-Cons. Like, is that what you're thinking, Mo? Because
that's year 5.
It's Switch 2 kind of thinking.
I just don't see it ever being an all-in-one unit like that. I don't. You know what I mean? Like it's the
Switch on the go.
Like,
and they'll make it's
smaller. More core. It's far more core of a gimmick than the dock and the Joy-Con grip.
Yeah,
is just the removable controller thing and the tabletop mode. I just don't see them ever taking that away from this.
Yeah, and as much of a gimmick as they're making it, even the new Pokemon game have the Joy-Con gimmick.
Yeah, they made a big point out of it. I don't
Unless you buy the
that. Hey, I just don't see it ever quite happening. I see a screenless box that you plug into your TV that plays all the Switch games. I see that before I see a Switch with non-removable Joy-Cons.
And without a card slot, so you have to buy them all digitally.
Maybe.
Jason, would you order a custom Switch if you had an option? Get a second one?
If I've had a need for it or something, I mean, not just for kicks, but if I could, I would.
You know, it'd be even better, an option to just order the Joy-Con custom.
Yeah, good Lord.
I think that would be way better.
That said, PlayAsia prices are effectively retail
comparable
at this
to
point
the US,
for most of those. Yeah. They're really close. Yeah, I think you're just paying a few extra dollars shipping or something. They're really it's
the idea of having to buy 2 sets to get 1 pair. That's what
if I could buy just 2 green ones, I would have probably already bought them.
It's too bad Jason doesn't want a set of pink ones.
You know what? Max might want
to dream reality.
Why? Okay, me and you are the 2 green guys, and why am I playing off on Jason? Don't want the pink ones. It's like,
I'm just saying, we could go halvesies if
Eric,
if only
you're the arcade man.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you want some pink Joy-Con?
Do I want some pink Joy-Con?
A set of
pink Joy-Cons.
And don't forget that they are redesigning the Joy-Cons, ladies and gentlemen. So all of these are going to be revision 1, and they are going to eventually be the crappy Wiimotes without Motion Plus. They're going to be the shitty ones. You don't want any more.
Wait, how do you know they're redesigning the Joy-Con?
His uncle works at Nintendo.
Yeah.
They have a patent.
There was a patent where they showed a redesign where they kind of moved the battery and stuff around in there, and
they moved the antenna inside.
It was exactly, and so it's specifically the left Joy-Con. It's like it's pretty clear cut that it's a redesign of the left Joy-Con to solve the connectivity issues.
Eric, don't you listen to Nintendo Open Air podcast?
But I mean, when did they bring that up? That was
you can tune in every week for all the hottest news.
He only listens to the episodes he's on.
No, I listen to the one I'm not in.
I told
you so you can catch up.
I told you could move your chicken wire back into your living room.
And you can game on top of your aquarium like you used to.
Yeah.
Or on your houseboat. Whatever. All right.
Or from within your microwave. Moving right along.
Yeah, that's not our only console news this week. Of course, Switch will not, or rather the 3DS to switch out to it. The new 2DS XL has some new colors coming out: black lime and white lavender. The black lime will come with Mario Kart 7, and the white lavender comes with Tomodachi Life.
Wait. What about the
You're forgetting the third one.
The most important color of 2DS XL.
That's right. That's pretty new, and that was at the bottom of my list here, and that is the Hylian Shield 2DS XL with the link between worlds.
If that were a 3DS,
as they continue to put out 2DSs that people would buy if it was a 3DS.
Yeah, exactly. There's like 3 already that I would have had to have purchased the Pokeball one. I would have had to have purchased this one. I would have had to have purchased the Samus one if it were a better design and it were a 3DS.
The Samus one is a 3DS.
Was it?
Yeah.
XL. Oh yeah. He doesn't.
Oh, it was. You're right. It was a 3D. I forgot.
wouldn't buy a 2DS.
The Samus one I didn't buy because I thought it had a shitty design. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, it does. No, I think it. I agree. I just bought it because I love Metroid.
It's not terrible. It's not.
It doesn't even have a Metroid on it.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, Mr. Grizz.
It is. You know what though? I will say it's got the glossy finish, and man, this thing mars up like nothing. Like it's got all kinds of like chunks taken out of it, and
that's why you get those rubberized
covers.
But those have their own problems.
But yeah, there was also the sweet Pikachu 2DS that had come out that had the little raised nose.
The Pikachu one, the Pokeball one, and this here Hylian Shield.
They never figured out how to make cool 3DSs.
There are a couple of caveats to this news, though. The black lime and white lavender are European exclusive, and this is great news for everyone in North America. We do get the Hylian Shield, but it is, I believe, is it GameStop exclusive? Am I thinking that right? No, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of something else, right?
That would be just like Nintendo to do that, though.
And it comes with a link between worlds, right?
Oh, I was thinking of another topic. It does come with a link between worlds.
Now that's become a budget title, a select title.
The Hylian Shield is available elsewhere.
That's one of 4 Zelda games I've ever completed.
So for the huge Zelda fan that you know that hasn't played the 3DS Zelda,
plays one of the more highly acclaimed Zelda games. Yeah.
It is one of the more highly acclaimed Zelda games, and you're right though. It is the only 3DS Zelda. Yeah, the only original 3DS.
Original
Zelda.
To the 3DS.
Yeah.
Triforce Heroes. Come on.
No.
Oh.
What is that?
Do not bundle that with anything.
I've never heard of that game before. Don't know what you're talking about.
Twilight Princess Picross. Hello.
I would actually,
there's remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and then there's a million Virtual Console titles. But that's the only actual original 3DS Zelda.
Right. Yeah.
It was a good one.
I'd actually be interested in buying a 2DS, a regular size 2DS that has a clamshell, but I don't know what they would name it to differentiate it from the brick one.
From the little kitty version, yeah.
It would be the new
2DS XS, extra small.
No,
it'd just be the new 2DS. Oh, you're right. You got it. New 2DS.
Yeah, there you go. I guess so. Yeah.
Because the old 2DS is the kitty brick.
It's just the 2DS.
Yeah.
The problem is, I'm sure the 2DS XLs aren't flying off the shelf at a rate that would make them want to offer a smaller model.
Yeah, they don't even want to offer the 3DS
enough that they're releasing a Hylian Shield version. Like, they're still releasing new fancy versions of it.
Because people who are buying it are confused. I think everybody who wanted a 3DS has got a 3DS at this point. The people who are buying it now are people who are like, hey, that's a 3DS. And then they're like, oh, how do I turn the 3D on? Oh, I guess this one doesn't have 3D. I guess.
Oh, there are people who are like, I've been waiting for this frigging Hylian Shield one for 5 years.
Yeah.
Waiting for a sweet Zelda one. Because honestly, all the Zelda ones have been meh.
I've got a friend that bought the gold 3DS with the Triforce on it and then sold it. Yep, and then sold it.
That was probably the best one.
Decided he didn't want a 3DS anymore. And then when Majora's Mask came out, he got the limited edition Majora's Mask new 3DS. and then sold it and decided he didn't want a 3DS anymore. So I'm wondering now if he's going to buy this and sell it later.
That's where you need
I
to
know
get
I've
it,
said
man.
this before, Mo, but you know some weird people.
I know, but he does own a Wii U and a Switch. So,
and he hasn't sold the Wii U.
No, he's got that going for him.
This guy.
You know what's funny though? He used to carry the Wii U in his like in a backpack with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart 8, so he could like take it to friends' houses and stuff and play it. So now he's got that on his Switch.
I kind of did the same thing, but I kept it in the original. I would just pack it up in the original.
Yeah, but he did this like daily.
Oh no, I would do it like 2 or 3 times a year. No, but I like something's really wrong with a person when they've got a 3DS twice. They have a 3DS. And they go, I got nothing to play on this thing. But this Wii U over here, I'm never getting rid of that.
Yeah. He bought that. He bought that for Breath of the Wild. But he bought it like 4 years before Breath of the Wild came out.
Sucker.
Yeah. And he just sat and collected dust, and then finally he was like, I'm gonna play Breath of the Wild on it. That's what I bought. And then now he's bought a Switch and he double dipped on Breath of the Wild.
The only advantage he had of Breath of the Wild on Wii U is it had Miitomo support. I mean, Miiverse support.
Yeah, for a couple months.
For a couple months.
Wait, what did it do? I don't remember what Miiverse support did.
You could post. You could post pictures. Sometimes I would go to that community just to be like, because that's
I would.
You could either search the Twitter hashtag or go to the much friendlier Miiverse.
Yeah, I miss Miiverse. Yeah. Every time a penis, as I've pointed out to you guys, because I've been seeing a lot of them lately. Every time a penis shows up in my plaza, I cry a tear for the loss of Miiverse. And I give it a hearty fresh and a screenshot.
And then report it.
Since we're
what else were we going to talk about?
Since we were mentioning Miiverse, I guess we should go ahead and mention the new website to redesign your Miis is live. It's very disappointing. It basically removes. It's called Mi Studio, and it's through any browser, I guess. It removes all your Miitomo clothing that you probably had picked out the perfect outfit before you
paid for.
So it strips your Miis naked? Really?
No, it just strips it down to the base single color shirt, and not even as good as the Switch version of the Mii Maker. So
it's all me-tarded.
Well, actually, the Switch Mii Maker is pretty fancy.
The Switch one's decent,
yeah.
But this is like the 3DS version.
They should add clothes into the Switch one. Yeah,
dude. Again, we've discussed this along with themes and everything else. Like totally, if you could spend platinum, this is what I think is going to happen because I think platinum points are going to come back in a big way at some point. And I think it'll
after they've all expired.
After all of our
clothing, after all of ours are expired. I just spent $1,000, $1,000 platinum coins. I know, I'm like Eric. No, I just
settle down.
An arcade bunny.
Yeah. No, I just spent 1,000 gold coins. I have 2,000 and something gold coins expiring this month, so I just have an extra code for Zelda Picross that I'm gonna give to somebody. I don't know.
That you're gonna reward
because you have 2 accounts. Because you can only redeem that once.
Yeah, and I just had never redeemed the one on my main account because I had racked up 1,000 on the alt way back when. But I dropped. I got the 900 coins for signing up for Pocket Camp, and then played it for like 2 days and said this is crap. But those coins are finally expiring on me, and
And too bad we probably can't get any coins for Pokemon Quest since.
Oh wow!
Technically, it's not a Nintendo game.
What's Niantic
or
Game
Freak.
Company. You couldn't gain points for Pokemon Go, so I'm gonna assume you can't gain points on this one. But
no, or nor for
Mario Kart,
Pokemon Duel, which were also mobile games that were fun.
Yeah, I didn't really play with this Mii Maker. It's like my Mii is fine. It seems almost like this is for the bizarre target audience of people who just play mobile Nintendo games. Now they have a way to make Miis for their Nintendo account.
I don't know anyone who only plays mobile Nintendo games.
Exactly.
But I guess it exists, yeah.
I have a feeling that there's going to be some interaction. Like I'm thinking about the new Pokemon game and all that, and I'm thinking there's going to be some kind of interaction. Like this
But
is
this is a Switch game, Z. Why wouldn't you just use the one on your Switch?
Yeah.
No. Well, Pokemon Go isn't, right? Right, and then there's the other Nintendo games, but there's going to be direct interaction with Pokemon Go. That plus, I mean, I think
if you could bring your Mii into Pokemon, you could be the trainer.
I think, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
Oh, I thought you meant you were going to get Mii's in Pokemon Go, and it's like, well, that kind of be a welcome thing.
Well, no, not necessarily. I just mean like your friend list. Like, let's say they ever add a friend list to Pokemon Go. What would your friend icon be? Probably a Mii.
That little.
That's why I'm thinking that they're going to kind of tie these all together, and that this is going to lead to a more globalization of your Nintendo account. Right, you log into the same account on the phone apps like we already do with the basic Nintendo app. I just think it's going to be a lot more expanded, and you'll have your little Mii icon as your little avatar across all these apps, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's kind of where they're going with this. I think they're going to try to blur the lines more and more between Switch
your
games
Nintendo
and mobile games.
Google account.
Yeah,
I do hope.
Kind of.
I do hope this is a starting point, and maybe this will connect to the Switch Online and have a bigger online presence. I hope they will add to this and maybe offer new features to it.
I have a feeling even after E3 we won't know.
No, I don't expect to know anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's just it'd be nice if they did eventually. Next 3 years.
But yeah, it's something. They're sort of almost trying to do something.
It's a good way of putting it. They're sort of almost trying.
But yeah, I really don't know who this is for. It's for the Nintendo fan that doesn't have a 3DS or a Switch, but really wants their own Mii, damn it.
Well, maybe not. I still look at this as for Nintendo people or for people with Switches or you know what I mean? People already in Nintendo's ecosystem.
That's for when you're working. Like, oh, I wish I could change my Mii's hair right now.
Yeah, and again, I don't deny that it's kind of stupid, but I think that's more the logic of it than this is for, you know.
Or you can make multiple Mii's too, right? So you could just be at work and be like, hey, I'm going to try to make Donald Trump. Like,
well, see, now here's the thing about that. That's one thing that went away with Miitomo as well that I didn't think about till you just brought it up. Mii's? But yeah, you could do the side Mii's and the fact that you could go poach other people's, you know, created celebrity Mii's and with QR codes and whatever.
There's horrible websites and Tumblrs that you can just.
Can you still do QR codes?
But how would you scan a QR code? Is that?
Oh yeah, I guess you can't. I guess you can't. But what you can do, which is what I did the other night, you can scan a QR code onto your 3DS. Then from the 3DS, transfer it to Amiibo. Then from the Amiibo, transfer it to your Switch. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's and he kept sending screenshots of him using all of our Mii's as his icon with vulgar names. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, exactly. That's what I mean. Is it's a kludgy mess. But I on the Wii, remember that was one of the best things. I don't know how many. Like, I assume we all spent at least some time in the little Mii Plaza where you could browse like other people's celebrity Mii's, and they would do like. They would do an event, They would do an event, you know, make a Mii of your favorite musician or make a Mii of your favorite historical character or president or whatever. Yeah.
Your favorite celebrity accused of sexual harassment.
For example, right? Those were cool. Like, I know that was something that I know a lot of the casuals had fun with. Like my friends that only used it for Hulu, they also knew about the Everybody Votes channel and the little celebrity Mii channel. You know what I mean?
Check out this sick Cosby.
And that was another. But there was also that thing in Miitomo, right, where you could show off outfits, and you didn't care about the outfits as much as you were just browsing for the different
5
Mii's
points.
people created.
5
but
platinum points or whatever.
But you know what I mean? There's nothing like that.
That's what I was saying for.
I want to see. I want them to bring some.
You want
of
a
that
me
back.
Fashion show? Damn it!
I do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want.
Me
I want. I mean, basically, those are both two variations of the same thing. Yeah, the Me Parade / the Me Fashion Show, depending on which iteration we're talking about. But that's what I want. I want something like that for Switch, and hopefully that kind of thing comes along with the paid service. But and then you can pay platinum coins to buy clothes for your me and dress them up, and they can build this whole little ecosystem, kind of like a simplistic version of what Miitomo was. But it's built around.
Let's just buy a bunch of Barbies in her dream house.
Exactly. Why not?
We definitely need to move this on. This is getting into weird territory.
Mo takes it into weird territory.
I was going to start accusing him of atrocities in a minute. Oh.
With Barbies?
I remember the comments about Pokemon Go, so go ahead.
No, it's fine. We can move.
I'm sorry, I'm just teasing. All right, well, since we are talking about many sad things in this podcast, we need to talk about one more sad thing, and that is My Nintendo Japan. They got some new rewards. Well, guess what? They're actually useful. Discounts on SD cards.
So, they always get the cool stuff. Yeah, Z didn't. See?
I missed this.
Good thing you're here. Yeah, we're going to break some news for you right now.
On Nintendo in Japan, you can get SD card discounts.
What?
There you have it.
Yeah.
No.
How much? It's probably not. I imagine it's.
Is that the one in the picture? Am I right?
Well, okay. Let's see. Let's see what these prices are, because half price of retail is usually still more than what Amazon's selling it for.
I'll tell you what, it's better than a stupid wallpaper.
Yeah,
because you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. An SD card that retails for $100 or for $200, Best Buy will be selling for $120, and you can get on Amazon for $60.
Jason's got a ton of points, and you know what he doesn't have? An SD card for his Switch. He could take advantage of this if only he were Japanese.
If only I was in Japan. I don't even have to be Japanese.
They also got some. Didn't they get some Breath of the Wild posters or something early on too?
They get all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah.
They get physical rewards.
How are you doing on space there, Jason? When was the last time you checked?
When I downloaded Rocket League, I had to delete all my demos.
He's considering getting rid of Pokemon Quest, if that tells you anything.
It's not because of the space. It's because
that's not why I'm deleting it.
I'm deleting it because it's an atrocity.
Because it sucks. Yeah.
How much space does it take up? You don't know.
It doesn't matter if it took up 1 kilobyte. I would still delete it.
I'm just curious. Like, is it a big game or just medium, small?
If it's a big game, it can't be a big game. If it's a big game, then the programmer who designed it needs to be taken out.
It's going to be big enough to fit on a cell phone. So.
Yeah, I actually got it through the Nintendo website. So let me see if I can look that up for you, Eric. I have to say, that's the first time I've probably used the site. I went to Nintendo.com site, downloaded the game from there directly to my Switch.
I've done that with demos before. Yeah.
Wait, how'd that work?
It's a thing. Easy.
So
you just go, you say download.
You just do it on the site, and it just pops up on your Switch. Rock on, man.
And that works too if you buy games. I've done that. I mean, I've done that for years on 3DS and stuff.
Nintendo's only 18 years late to the 21st century.
Yeah.
But I used to do that, like, at work. Like, I'll be like, oh, this game came out today for 3DS. I can buy it online, and then it'll automatically download. And when I get home, it'll be ready to go, and I can play it. So,
Jason, did you say, nice. Oh, wow?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to blow your guys' mind. DLC packs for this game. $30 for a 3-pack.
Holy crap.
3-pack of what?
DLC.
To be announced. You gotta buy it first.
Expedition Pack, Great Expedition Pack, and Ultra Expedition Pack. See, the Expedition Pack.
And oh my god.
A cooking pot increases the number of dishes you can cook. Pokeball model increases the number of PM tickets received as a service for members by 20. And a perfect pair statue.
Yeah. By the way, Eric, it's 221 megabytes.
Thank you, Matt.
That's not bad.
Kitten Squad, by comparison, is 171.
That's correct.
Those are our 2 free to download games. So they're small.
Yeah.
But again, if it's befouling your hardware, get rid of it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do right now.
As opposed to Rocket League, which is 8.7 gigs.
Yeah. So Jason, how much? Like you're really tight on space.
Mm-hmm.
So when are you going to jump on the bandwagon with a SD card?
I don't know. Just whenever I catch them on sale.
I'm also a little disappointed. Doom is 8 gigs, and that's just the online portion, but you still have to have
the cartridge.
Luckily, I've still got 68.3 gigs left on my SD card.
I have 72.3.
I don't think it's going anywhere, and I'll have even more once I delete the Sushi Striker demo, and
I haven't even touched that demo yet.
Pinball Arcade probably can go. That's almost a gig.
We'll be talking about the Sushi Striker demo at the end of the show, so that's up your alley. Stick around.
Yeah, that's the free-to-play stuff is always the first to go when I start running low on space.
Yeah.
Well, after the demos.
Well, Pinball Arcade has the same table as the Stern Pinball, so it's like...
Well, and the other thing is, we have high scores on the Stern Pinball, or you do.
Maybe.
Like, we've played it a handful of times. Like, I don't feel like exactly. I don't feel like playing the other one again. I'll just keep the old one unless they take the old one away, which they might. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but
it's
not
no
all
Jurassic Pinball.
Not all Nintendo cell phone games are small though. Like Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Heroes.
Mitomo took up half a phone. Like,
they
eventually shrunk it down. Yeah.
Yeah, but Fire Emblem Heroes, like when I got it, I forget what the original was, but then like every day there'd be an update because I was so late to it. Every day there'd be an update for like 900 megabytes, like almost a gig.
Are you a daily player of that now, Eric?
Semi-daily.
Wait, of what?
You're joining that club?
Fire Emblem? You're on
Fire Emblem
no
Heroes.
wonder. So when you reply to Max's Fire Emblem posts, you're not just randomly replying. You actually
I was
know what you're talking about.
I was randomly.
You're not just patronizing her?
Oh. I was randomly.
That's kind of what I figured.
Recently, but just recently I started playing it.
He heard about that Brides update coming to it. It's like I better get in before that. In before Brides.
All right. So
Speaking of updates, what's our next topic?
Our update. It's nothing to do with Brides, believe it or not. So it's some information on indies choosing Switch. So game industry survey of 61 indie developers, and their question was, if you could only release your game on one console, what would it be? 32.8% said Switch. 47.5%, which was the only thing higher, was PC. So,
we're number 2, baby. Oh.
Yeah.
Number 1 on consoles, though.
Yeah.
One console.
Which is how the Nintendo news sites phrased it. Nintendo is the number 1 console people want to develop for.
And you open and read the article.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though, PC and I when we talked about this earlier, like PC is the easiest to write for. That's what they're developing the games on as a PC.
Right.
No, so I get that.
And it has the biggest install base of all the systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But on the flip side of that, it has the least standardized install base.
Yeah.
So you've got a ton of PCs out there, but that also means that you've got to support you have to decide what PCs you're going to support, how far back you're going to go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot more involved than just supporting a console. This will work on a PS4, period, bar none. And I was dealing with Bethesda support on Doom. Because I was trying to stream Doom to you guys the other day just so Mo could kind of compare it to the Switch one. and I was not able to stream it. I'm still not even able to play it. And after going back and forth with Bethesda support, and again, I do this kind of crap for a living, so I was able to shortcut a lot of the hoops they were jumping me through. But they eventually gave up and said, this is a Windows problem. We think this is something from a Windows update that came out in the fall of 2017. God, I'm old.
Here's the problem. You're on Windows 95.
It was the fall creators update for Windows 10 that came out last year. Has some kind of weird compatibility issue. Blah 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 blah. You need to completely reinstall your machine and the whole 9 yards. Well, this is also the machine I work off of, so that's a much bigger deal. I'm going to have to do it over a weekend. I'm going to have to be very careful about it. I have to make sure I don't lose anything, et cetera, et cetera.
Have you tried looking online to see if anyone else has had this issue and come up with an easy workaround months ago? Yeah,
I did that all before I bothered. Because right when I first tried to stream it to you, it was a month and a half ago. And so I've been screwing around with it since then. And yes, I've looked up message boards, and that was, but like I said, that was the other way I was able to shortcut a lot of the hoops that Bethesda was jumping me through, was because I'd already tried all this shit. Most of this stuff I'd found on message boards already. They're like, try setting your render API. No, did that. I've tried 1, 0, and 3. None of them are going to work. Have you tried verifying your file integrity? No. Did that shit.
Give me your supervisor.
That's pretty much, yeah. It was like I talked to the first person and they said, okay, hold on. Like, you know what I mean? They would send me an email. I would reply within 5 minutes saying, yes, I've done all of this. And in detail, because you can't just say, oh, I've done all this. No, you have to say, I've tested this. This was the result. I've tested this. This was the result. Blah, 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 blah. Because like I said, I do that shit for a living. So I knew exactly how to tell them, no, yes, I have done every one of these steps already. This doesn't work. Give me the next list of steps you want me to go through. So I was able to chew through 3 people in like a 6-hour span. So I'd get a bunch of rapid fire emails, and then they'd say, okay, hold on a moment, or I'd get some response like that. And then about an hour later, I'd get another email from somebody else, and then I'd go through all those, and then there'd be another hour or 2 pause. And then the last one was, we think you have a Windows problem, reinstall Windows. So that's either a piss off and leave us alone, or it's a legitimate problem. And that said, it actually feeds into another issue that I've been chasing down on my machine, not gaming related. So, all right, fine. I'm finally to the point where I'm going to have to wipe and reinstall Windows.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about how indies chose the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Though, I'm talking about PCs and how supporting PC is different from a console, but that's kind of a tangent.
This podcast is sort of like the 20 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game.
Mm-hmm.
We can get anywhere from anywhere.
Well, I was trying to explain why PC is higher than Switch. It does have a broader install base. It is more complicated, but that's right. That's what people are learning to code on, is a PC. That's what people are building the games on.
But the Wulverblade folks are definitely glad to be on Switch.
Yeah, that's their Switch sales are said to be much higher than any other system, and they believe that the Steam Year 1 sales will not reach the Switch Day 1 sales. So definitely some success.
That just means the Steam sales are really abysmal.
Well,
they just couldn't get noticed.
It's needle in a haystack on Steam.
Yeah,
that's another reason it's so weird for developers to say. I mean, again, that's why I can't. There's got to be other logistical reasons that PC is so high, like just that's easy.
Yeah, because they can throw it in a humble bundle and get visibility.
That's true, but they have to give it away for free to get visibility, basically.
And they refuse to put hard numbers on there. It's always like,
they don't want to tell you. Because what if they tell you and then you're like, well, that didn't sell very well. These people must only have this much money.
Me think that it didn't sell very well. That's why they don't want to put hard numbers.
Here's another hidden detail of this is, if you remember, Nintendo dropped Wulverblade in a Nintendo Direct. and then put up a video, and then they put up a video. Yeah, they put up an indie video of it on YouTube and whatever. And I guarantee you, they didn't get anywhere near that kind of exposure from from Xbox or Sony or
Nintendo
Steam.
does definitely back everything, just about like anything that it seems like any of the games that they know for sure aren't complete trash at least get a trailer or something that they put the little Switch logo in front of, and Nintendo sends it out.
That's the new Nintendo seal of quality. If
they
are showing it in a trailer, then it's probably not a piece of crap. It's probably a decent game. But if it's just something that shows up on the eShop, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Now pops up a quick little chart here to give you an idea of the big difference in sales between the different consoles.
As you can see, the top one is much longer.
Yeah, again, no numbers here. Just
I mean, that could be like they sold.
But based on this, it looks like they sold about 10 on Xbox, 8 on PS4, and 5 on Steam.
We will say Nintendo is a very proud company, whereas Sony, Microsoft, and Valve are, the kind of guys that buy, Humvees.
Their Schwartz is definitely longer
because they're insecure about
Schwartz.
Never
mind.
Watch
Spaceballs.
He said Schwartz, not Shorts, right?
Yeah,
Schwartz.
Yeah, I still don't
Schwartz.
follow.
It's the
You
Schwartz.
watch Spaceball.
I mean,
and you
Schwartz
get back to us.
Believe in the Schwartz.
Yeah.
Believe in my Schwartz.
It's best not to ask, Eric. I've learned that long ago. If you don't know what they're talking about, do not ask for an explanation. You can't get that stuff.
I'm confident people in the audience will know. Yeah.
Yep. That's
If you were alive in the 90s,
you've more than likely seen it. So
if you saw Mel Brooks fall into his later poorer quality years, Spaceballs wasn't that great. It was all right.
No, it was okay.
Reeling it back in
for a week.
So talking about how Nintendo is a proud company, Nintendo of Japan, doesn't take on to these indie titles as much as we do here, and they recently applied for the Indie World trademark, and which is basically the Japan version of the Nindies title, and they have like their own presentation and things they do. That's kind of cool to see it's growing outside of the U.S. and Europe.
Yeah,
the small developer mindset. Yeah, that's like with music. Japan's very much into very, very large corporate bands. There's not, you know what I mean, in a way that even more so than we are here with American Idol and that kind of stuff. They're very, very much into. It's hard to explain the cultural mindset, but they like the idea of being fed something by a large company, whereas in America we have their instinctual distaste for that kind of thing.
They've got something that's very popular. They are part of the mainstream, as opposed to here where it's like, oh, you poser! I listen to this band. I went to a concert. There was only 2 other people there.
Yeah, that's real. Cool. That's real hardcore, man. I know. No, I know. I've known those people. I may or may not have been one of those people at some point.
I saw the lead singer eating out of the dumpster before the show. I'm cool. Anyway, what are we talking about again? We should go somewhere. I don't know.
I don't know where it leads you from there, but yeah.
Indie bands.
Hopefully it's not the same for indie developers.
Yeah. Well, not if they get their game onto the Switch.
That's right.
I was hanging out with that dev when he was eating out of a dumpster, man.
Yeah. Well, it's like they said, the people who made Blossom Tales, like it said that basically saved their company. Like, if it hadn't been for putting the game on Switch, they might not exist.
So talk to me about this. Why is it now Switch is the hot new console, and they've sold a lot of them.
Unless you're a major
Sony's
AAA developer.
Sony's still got at least three times the install base. Yeah. Why is everyone buying this crap on Switch and not buying it anywhere else? Is Sony similarly?
Because they actually have AAA games to play on the other systems.
Maybe that's it. Is it Nintendo's found the right balance of starving their consumer base to the point that they'll,
when you go months and months between releases that you actually want to play, you say, hey, let's see what's on the eShop. I need to pick up some crap that I'll play for an hour and pick up maybe in a year.
Yeah, I mean, now don't get me wrong. Like Wulverblade, for example, was one of those. There's been dozens of them that I go, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah,
I won't pay $15 or $20 or whatever they're asking for it, and there's plenty of other cool stuff amongst the mountains of crap. Then I long since forgot about it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just said I feel bad sometimes when it's like, yeah, that looks interesting at $10.
I know we've gotten spoiled.
Yeah, I know.
But the other thing is, on the flip side,
as a Nintendo fan, we will wait.
Well, as a Nintendo fan, we will wait. But on the flip side, as a Nintendo fan, we're not as spoiled as everybody else. Like, right? I've turned Jason and Max on to like the humble bundles and stuff. It's like, right, stuff that they are selling for $15 as you know, just released on the Switch has been out on Steam for a year and a half, and you can get it for $1 with 4 other games.
Yeah, but that's the thing too, is I think a lot of people do take advantage of the Switch ecosystem and are like, I can get away with selling this for way more.
They gouge a little bit. Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same. There's a lot of apps on iPhone that are $1 or $2 more, or just outright free on Android, but cost $1 or $2.
And one thing that bugs me even more is the people who make like the whatever the Island Flight Simulator game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't remember how much it's like $25 or $30 on Switch. It's $8 on Wii U.
And it's the exact same. Yeah.
Yeah. But they know that nobody's got a Wii U, so no one's going to see that.
Even Rocket
That's
League,
true.
it's the same thing. Right, I paid for what, $14.99 for Rocket League?
Yeah.
Now it's on sale on all the other consoles for $10.99.
Yeah.
Has it gone? Is it really?
And you bought it on sale, right? Or no?
Yeah, that was on sale.
That's interesting to note that it's $10.99. That's the cheapest. Not the cheapest. It's been $10 on sale once before.
It's been in Humble Bundle.
But and I picked it up on PC in the Humble Bundle just for the hell of it because I wanted to pick up a couple of the other games anyway. But it rarely gets that cheap. And Jason, you don't really feel after 45 hours that you got gypped out of $4, do you?
That's racist.
I forgot. You're right. Gypped is a racist term referring to gypsies.
Cancel this show, ABC.
Which gypsies itself is in fact a racist term referring to Egyptians, which was totally wrong because they weren't Egyptians, but people thought these wandering people were from Egypt, so they called them gypsies. But anyway, random.
I'll let it slide. Sorry to any of the gypsies listening now that we have offended.
Yeah. I will no longer use the term gypped in vain.
Public.
On a recorded podcast.
On a report. I'll only use it in my head.
Continue. Oh.
I'm sure you've said worse things probably on this very podcast already, Mo, that we have forgotten about.
I asked them to delete these things, and they say, no, leave it in. They like that mature rating. I'm sorry, audience.
I'm like a big dumb dog, you know. It's like I might bite, but I'm just playing.
If we're up to Jason, this would be like network television. We would bleep out every other word out of Mo's mouth. And
it's just too much work.
Yeah, it's too much effort. Jason already puts in plenty of work.
He definitely does.
Podcast together, so props to that.
Yeah.
Hooray!
He's just trying to make up for those Pokemon Go comments earlier in the episode. No.
Sorry, Jason.
Speaking of Rocket League,
Pokemon Go. Is it speaking of what?
Yeah, we did have a.
So speaking of Rocket League,
finally dropped today that we talked about some last week. So I know Mo has been playing it.
Everyone except for Eric got some rewards out of the deal.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't checked mine out, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Finally have a decent goal.
End of their in-game competitive season and the beginning of a new competitive season.
Yeah, same here, Jason. A decent goal explosion. And can I rant about my experience ranking during the last wee hour? So I woke up this morning at like 2:30 in the morning. Long story, but I just
he decided with 24 hours to go that he was going to try to get himself ranked and get some rewards.
No. I decided with I believe 5 hours to go.
Yeah,
get myself ranked. And it was a slog. It was a nightmare because, as Mo said, I don't think anybody's really grinding to lock up bronze last minute. But
which is the lowest rank in the game.
I couldn't find a match. It was 20 minutes. I mean, I thought, I got 5 hours left. I got 6 more wins to get. No problem. I couldn't even. I barely got 6 matches. I only lost like 2 or 3 matches, but it was like literally 20, 30 minutes between matches. I would get 1 or 2 an
which
hour.
That is surprising.
I was lucky.
Yeah.
Then Mo joins me.
I sometimes will go for 3 or 5 minutes, maybe if I'm looking for a Switch only match, and that's rare that it takes that long. But yeah, like 20 or 30, I don't know what was going on.
It was a nightmare. Yeah, and I kept seeing not enough players joined or lost connection with server or whatever. And even wired or wireless, because part of it was just laying in bed playing, which, oh my God, that's so cool. Like I know most of us are either primarily wired or primarily docked or primarily undocked, but I really, especially with the baby and just the constant interruptions and whatever, it's having both is awesome. So like I play a couple rounds and then the wife's nagging me to go into the bedroom, whatever. I'll just go lay in bed and play a couple more rounds. But yeah, 8 minutes to go, man. I was I was already late for work. I had 10 and I was like, fuck this game, man. I'm not gonna get this. I'm gonna be screwed. After being up all morning for like 5 or 6 hours trying to get my stupid rank. 8 minutes to go. Mo's like, oh, let's party up. Match like in 20 seconds. Bam, we're in a match.
Like, and then right at the beginning of the game, one of the opponents dropped out. So
it was like
3 versus 2.
There's my win. Thank you very much, sir. Perfect. Yeah. So right down to the wire, I got my 10 out of 10 to get my bronze rank and my fancy goal explosion and banner. And you're right, Jason. I've never had any sort of fancy goal explosion or fancy banner.
Yeah.
So that's thanks for finally talking me into it, Mo. You've made me
worth it, isn't it?
Like the rest of us.
Yeah. Now you've probably got 5 or 6 more months to rank up and get your rewards for next season or whatever.
Well, it seems like the seasons are. Seems like the seasons are seasons. Seems like they're roughly around. Yeah, the quarterly. It seems like they're roughly around spring, summer transition, and summer to fall.
Yeah. The next one will probably be around Halloween or so. Or, September probably.
The walk-in bronze before then.
Yeah, I'll make sure to. Yeah. I'm going to try to do it on both the Switch and the Steam. Are you going to get on the bandwagon, Eric?
No,
I've convinced Max and Jason to buy it.
We can't peer pressured. Come on, all the cool kids are playing it, man.
I don't want to get beat by Momo when we're playing like 4 versus Momo.
No.
Take pleasure.
That was a one-time thing.
No. All you got to do is go. If I put 1,100 hours into it, I'd kick his ass. And then that's all you got to tell yourself. It's all you got to tell yourself.
I just got lucky.
That's my biggest gripe with it is that I'm so late to it. Like, wouldn't it come out September of?
Yeah, but you know what? It's been out for years on the other consoles. I play this platform with people who obviously have more hours than me because they're higher ranks than me. And I've seen people, I've even played in matches where there's somebody who has the reward banner or something from like 2 years ago. So it's like, it is kind of fun to be like, I know I'm better than this guy and he's been playing for 2 years.
July 7th, 2015.
No, for Switch.
Yeah, right after. Oh, well, yeah, for Switch.
For Switch, it came out September of 17.
September?
Yeah.
Was that early?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so, yeah. Or October.
That's right. It was. Okay.
But as Mo said earlier, it's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. These people are hostile. If you have only played Nintendo games and you're used to the Miiverse and Miitomo mindset where these people are nice to you,
These assholes do not
guts.
booyah back.
So they ram your car, and if they can blow you up, that's even better.
Oh yeah, or they'll sit idle on the field for a good 30 seconds or a minute while they type out, a gruesome, terrible insult.
Trash team. Oh, I get that one.
What's the worst had said to you in Rocket League?
And don't bleep anything up.
That's pretty much. Yeah. I've had people call me trash. I've been told I should quit playing the game. You suck. I had a guy the other day say teammate is gay, and I just was like, thanks. But it's only, you know what though? It's only Switch players that talk shit. I never see it from the Xbox or the PC people. It's always the Switch players.
They're too good to talk to us. They don't even acknowledge our existence.
Well, the thing that bothers me the most, you could call me any name and I don't care. What bothers me is you have to stop playing the game to type a message because it brings up the on-screen keyboard. So that whole time you're picking and pecking on this Nintendo Switch shitty keyboard. You can't see anything that's happening. Yeah, it's like I'm doing so poorly that you feel the need to just completely stop playing for 30 seconds while you tell me how poorly I'm playing. Meanwhile, the goal is getting scored on.
Technically, I think you can plug in a USB keyboard, but nobody does.
You can, but nobody does that.
I just ordered a wireless USB keyboard for $15 from Newegg. I haven't picked up yet, but I'm gonna try it out. It supports up to 3 devices, so I'll try it because I ostensibly it's for work, right? I can use it with a PC, but I can also use it with my phone. I can also use it with my Switch. That's 3 devices, right?
Is that tax deductible? Oh.
I may or may not be able to.
What brand is it?
But probably not. It's Logitech.
Hewlett Packard.
Oh. Hell no.
No.
Is it one of those that, like the keys, you can change the colors behind the keys and all that?
I don't think so.
Fancy.
Is it one of the ones where you can take the keys off and rearrange them in any order?
It's got a little slot in it so that you can kind of set your phone propped up if you want, to type on your phone that way.
Oh no.
I think it's probably too narrow. I already was checking, and it says like it can support a phone up to a 1/2 inch thick. I think this is a little more than a 1/2 inch thick. So I don't think the Switch is going to fit in the slot, but we'll find out.
I do want to complain real quick about the one complaint I have about the new Rocket League update is there's a new arena called Salty Shores, which is a beach.
And you're salty about it?
It's aesthetically pleasing. It looks good. It's like sand and there's trees in the sky. It's very pretty. But the ball indicator in the game is white. And so white on a sand color, you can't really see. So when the ball's up in the air, the little ball indicator shows you where the ball is. And it also gets larger as it gets closer to the ground, which I use a lot of times to judge when the ball's coming down so I can jump up and hit it if I can't see it because I'm in the goal and I can't see the ball because the crossbar is blocking my view. So I cannot see the ball in the air for shit from the net in that. Or even really just when you're, going around, driving around, sometimes you're right under the ball and you can't really tell when it's going to drop right in front of your face.
That's the problem. That's because you were talking about ball cam. On versus
I guess ball cam gets rid of that.
The one problem with ball cam is when the ball is directly over your head and you lose track of which way your car is pointed because it doesn't show you. And so if you turn a little bit, you don't know how much you turned, and so that screws me up, and that's usually when I have to turn it off. But otherwise, ball cam, if you get used to turning it off and on, like that's what I've started doing is I have it on 90% of the time, but every once in a while, it screws me up. I need to just run downfield fast. So I've gotten good at just flipping it off real quick and then flipping it back on. So on is default, but every once in a while, I'll flip it off if I have to. And it helps with that shit. But I mean, again, you actually make contact with the ball Whereas I make it 1 out of I make it 1 out of 5 times that I'm trying to kind of thing. I'm just not to that level yet, but at least as far I've gotten pretty good at handling the ball cam.
Yeah, that's good.
It's
good to handle the ball cam. Yeah.
No,
that's good. I think
like
I
said,
I think a lot of the pros do play with that ball cam on. I can't take it.
RC Pro-Am, that's I for anybody who wants to get better at using the ball cam in Rocket League, it's all about practicing up on that old RC Pro-Am.
But who wants to really drive a car with a huge soccer ball now in real life? Let's do it.
Did that toy set ever come out, or is that Christmas this year?
I think it's coming out later this year.
At 1100, still 1100 hours in, you wouldn't.
It's much better on the Switch than on an actual RC car. That would be, it's like playing like even a crappy like Madden 07 or 08 versus one of those magnetic football machines, like from the 70s or whatever. Where it's just the little guy that runs. Like that's what it reminds me of. It's just like the really.
Just here's what you need to do. Does your mom know you play Rocket League?
No, probably not. We don't.
She knows nothing about. Yeah, she knows nothing about the game you play. It's soccer with cars.
Yeah.
Called Rocket League.
I don't think so.
I guarantee you she'll run.
Actually, you know what? Actually, no. I have played it. I've played it at her house. I have played it at her house. Actually, now that I think about it, so she's seen it. Because I try to. One of the concepts she really wrestles with, and it pisses her off, is like she'll like come over to my place unannounced and be like, "Hey, I'm downstairs. I'm coming up. Let me in." And I'm like, "Well, hold on, because I've got 4 minutes left in this game." And she's like, "Well, just answer the door." And I'm like, "Well, I'm playing with people online, and I can't just stop playing. There's no way to pause the game while I'm playing online with people." And she just doesn't get it. Like, how is this more important than me? And I'm like, trust me, it is.
That is one of the greatest things about my wife. Can I tell you? Is that my wife?
She knows how to answer a door. You're doing something else.
No. Is that sometimes I will ask my wife for something, and she'll say, "Wait a minute, I'm in a battle."
Yeah.
Which she understood. So that I can say the same thing to her.
It's a real thing. I'm sure there's girlfriends and boyfriends out there that have the same struggle. It's like, look, I can't just drop everything and let my team down, you jerk.
No, I know. It's awesome. My wife will come in and it'll be like, I'm in a match. She's like, all right, when you're done. Like, she understands. She gets it. It is important.
It's like they wouldn't do the same for you. They'll just squid party or drop out.
So that's a good way to get yourself.
That's probably why all those people in Rocket League are dropping out, is their mom's at the door. The basement door.
Are you playing that soccer game again?
Yeah. Even that dumb. But it is great. We talked about Rocket League a little bit before the podcast, trying to explain to Eric. It's just got so many layers.
It's deep.
The thing about it, Eric, is because it's such a simple concept, right? Soccer with cars. It sounds stupid. And it's the mechanics and the physics. It's kind of like when I first heard that Apple was going to make a touchscreen phone. When I heard Apple was going to make a touchscreen phone, or when I heard Apple was going to make an MP3 player for that matter, I was like, who the hell cares? There's a million of those on the market, and they all suck. They're stupid. And then Apple just nailed it. I don't know how many soccer with cars games there were on the market.
Probably not a ton.
My point is they took this really basic, really not very
two things you're familiar with.
Yeah, they took a very basic concept that just didn't sound like really all that. Like, what can you do with that? And they just nailed it. Everything about the mechanics, the physics, the controls. The controls themselves are very complex, but you don't need it's perfect in that you can play the game with the most basic controls and learn as you go.
Star Fox Zero.
You learn, but all you know is drive around and hit the ball. That's all you need to know to start with, and that your car can jump. Like, just the basics. And you drive around, you hit the ball, and you just kind of learn how to do all this other stuff as you go. And there's tutorials and there's whatever, but you don't. it's a much more organic experience, and there's a very long way to go before you can be at the insane levels that these guys can get to. And there's just
and when you watch those videos, it's like they must be using a Game Genie.
But I mean,
they're defying gravity.
The concept and the basic controls make it very accessible. Anybody can drop in and poke around with it and have a good time. But there's Mo will tell you he's 1,100 hours in, and he's still.
I suck. I'm trash.
Yeah, there's still, but I mean, right? There's still people that you look up to and go, "Good God, how the hell?" Right? People that are just in the air the entire frigging match. Pretty much.
It is one of those things too that like the good players will spend 4 or 5 hours just in the free training, which is just an empty coliseum with a ball and a net on each side, no other cars, and just practice playing, with the ball, bouncing it off of walls, trying to fly around and hit it.
Just getting used to the
mechanics and the feel. Yeah. So that's there's tricks you can like do a ground dribble where you balance the ball on top of your car, like while you're driving, that people can do. And there's people can could go through cones with just the ball on top of their car and then flicking it off of that. Or you can, fly up in the air and do all kinds of crazy backwards goals and, just flying all over. The pros will pass it to each other in the air. Like they don't have to touch the ground. They're in the air, dribbling the ball in the air, and then they pass it to somebody else who's also in the air, and that person shoots it. And they just, it's crazy. But it's nice that anybody can play too. It's one of those things. There's such a wide range of skill.
Even for your average schlub like me, it's right. You can, with a little bit of effort and practice, you can get to be doing some pretty cool maneuvers pretty quickly.
And if you want, there is a mode where you can just play against the computer as well.
Yeah, and it is genuinely satisfying. I think I've spent like 3 hours on Steam in just the free play, single player kicking the ball around.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely fun and satisfying just to practice hitting the ball around with a car. It's fun.
It feels awesome to get that goal. It's like
and it's
the explosion, and it's like
it's just like the way a slot machine lights up when you win money. Exactly.
It's that little rush of endorphins or whatever.
And it's also, you get a good satisfying whack out of the ball when you nail it, and it's going into the goal, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's surprisingly. I was a naysayer. I mean, I bought it early, right when it came out on Switch, because I was, I was on board the train, but
because somebody else said they would.
Yeah, basically. And then you just kind of went off on your own tangent, man.
Yeah, it surprised me. That was my game of the year.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I'm really glad for it, and especially in this drought, that there's been something to play. And like I said, it seems like it's something that I can always kind of go back to no matter what, like as a rainy day fallback game. You just
and Max, you probably put the least amount of time into it of any of us. Would you still endorse it to Eric?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun and frustrating all at once.
Those are the best games.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. It's the game that you love to hate.
Yeah. And Splatoon can be that way too. That's part of the reason we love Splatoon. Is Splatoon can just piss the hell out of you sometimes.
Yeah.
And no matter how bad you lose, you could always blame your teammates. Just like
Splatoon. But there's a one-on-one mode for Rocket League in there.
Yeah, that's the one I suck at. They need to. Somebody on Reddit was like, they should put bots into the 1v1, so I have somebody to blame when I lose. So I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. So you never realize how bad you suck until you're just playing one other guy and there's no one else to back you up or
Clash Royale, since I bring it up a lot, because it's still the game I play the most, and it's a phone game. It's primarily a 1v1 strategy. Just a one-on-one, and yeah, exactly. They introduced a 2v2 mode where you can either just get a random or team up with a friend, and pretty much everybody has gravitated to that mode for that exact reason. Like, if you lose, there's at least one other person that you can blame it on, and I think that's a significant compulsion for people to be in a team versus, like, for me, man, that's why I want chaos. I want more people on the team so that my impact is lessened. I suck, basically.
Yeah.
The effect of my suckage is decreased.
And see, Jason and I are both kind of partial to the doubles mode.
You know what?
That's also the mode that I started him out in too. It was just 2v2.
You know what? I won a 2v3 early this morning, and I ended up in a couple matches where each side had one person drop out, and I might start taking a greater interest in 2v2.
There's a lot more open space, but there's also a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, but it's also it gets a little less. There's not 4 cars all piled up, pinching the ball.
You can see anyone who might have a possibility of hitting the ball at any time.
It's a little more. Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. It's a little more easier to keep track of everybody and what's going on.
But I think Mo hit it on the head there. It forces responsibility on your teammate. You can't have the teammate that's just ball chasing. They've got to actually put effort into it.
If your teammate sucks,
really
you lose. Yeah.
I have had that. No, I had one of those today where it was just like, I'm the only one forward on a 2 versus 2, and then all of a sudden I go up for a shot and my teammate flies over my head, and I'm like, hey, who's guarding behind us? No one. But yeah, usually they understand, like, because if you don't want to lose, one of you has to be up and one of you has to be back. So
yeah, and I've noticed the ball chasing thing. I've just kind of accepted that there's never a goalie on either side, because that's how most of my matches are. I stay back. I don't stay in the goal most of the time.
Yeah, I think I am way more defensive than other people, and people, even I've talked to people on Reddit and stuff, and they still say that I'm doing it wrong. Like, they're like, you should be at the halfway point, is as far back as you should be, or just behind the halfway point. And I'm like, no, I'm back in the goal. But I'm also the kind of guy who gets goals from my own goal. Like, that's becoming my signature shot, sadly, is that I shoot those boomers all the way down the full length from goal.
The skill that you're building with your play style is, and I see it, is you are exceptionally good at getting out of the goal, taking the shot, and then getting back in the goal in the instant.
And I'm good at really long clears too, which not everybody does very well. But I can, if I'm making a save, a lot of times I can shoot that save all the way down to their end, so it's at least out of our area. So yeah, I've got kind of a unique thing, which I don't want to be in that role. I want to be chasing the ball all the time too. I just can't if I want to win.
Yeah. I tend to, but right, if you're sitting in back, you're also in the best position to. Yeah,
you've got the best view of the entire thing. The only problem is there's also so many opportunities where you have the best shot, and that jerk in front of you is going to jump forward anyway and knock it all crooked,
and knock it crosswise. Oh my god, yeah.
And then you're going to be caught with your pants down, trying to rush back to get in goal because they're not going to goal, and then they're going to say, "What a save!" when it goes in.
It's like there's no way you didn't see me. You're going to hit it back towards our side.
Yeah,
you are. Just friggin' stop. Just stop.
I've been scored on by my own teammates so many times when there's an opponent coming for the ball and I'm going for the ball. Yeah, and they'll just hit the ball. It's like, I think they're trying to chase down the opponent, but they end up just knocking the ball right into our goal. It's like, dude, I totally had that. Like, why didn't you just see I was going for it?
Now, every once in a while, even you, I'm sure, occasionally Mo is still guilty of doing something like that by accident.
Oh yeah, no, I do it. Sometimes I do it on purpose.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's
well,
just,
not score on myself, but well, yeah, I guess I do that too.
but right, I've gotten very good at backing off.
But yeah,
figuring out when somebody's got a shot and backing the hell off and getting out of their way.
And that's the thing. I was telling Jason earlier. It's really a game of self-discipline. I said in chat earlier that I can forgive poor mechanics, like somebody who's just sloppy. They went for it and they didn't hit it. They were in goal and they didn't make the save. Like, I forgive all those things. What I don't forgive is them being out of position in the game. Like, you shouldn't be where you're supposed to be at all times. And to get scored on just because you decided all three people should be up at the opponent's goal trying to get a goal while no one was protecting our goal. That's what always frustrates me. But yeah, everybody makes mistakes, and I still make mistakes.
One thing you need to learn about the game early on is that wherever the ball is, it can be in your goal 3 seconds later.
Yeah.
You always have to just assume that even if it's almost in their goal, it can be back in your goal in about 3 seconds if you're not careful.
And if you can see two players, that means there's nobody behind you. Like if you can see everyone on your team, then you're the last line of defense at that moment. That's what people don't seem to realize. But yeah, okay. I think we talked enough on Rocket League.
I was going to say, before we're
tune in next week for more Rocket League.
Yeah, before Rocket League becomes the next Splatoon, which it already is.
Yeah.
All right.
The thing we talk too much about.
All right, we just got a few topics left, so let's roll through them here. So the next biggest news is, of course, Mega Man 11 finally coming out. And we're getting an amiibo for Switch. So,
because they're confirmed for North America for sure.
Yeah,
they were blowing out that Mega Man amiibo for cheap.
And in fact,
it's cooler. But go ahead, Jason.
There's the new amiibo, and then there's the amiibo edition, which the amiibo edition includes the game, the amiibo stickers, a patch, and a cleaning cloth.
Ooh. Thank God they're throwing in that cleaning cloth, just like they did with the Legacy Collection.
We know what Mo's going to do with that.
So before we find out what that is,
replace one of my socks anyway.
Before we find out what that is, Jason?
That is a GameStop exclusive. So
wow.
No!
Gotta go to GameStop.
The last GameStop exclusive.
Because you know what, fans of Mega Man, they're masochists. They're fans of self punishment. So
are they writing 11 as XI or 1-1?
I think they're doing it as 1-1, yeah.
Yeah, they've done like numbers for the last few.
Okay.
As much as I want to love Mega Man, I think I don't.
Mega Man sucked.
It's like it is a classic and everything, but man, those games are hard as hell.
Yeah,
and not in a fun or pleasant, exciting way. Just in a mean-spirited.
There's way too many video games out there that are too damn hard, I think.
That said, you know what though? I will step back a little bit. Mega Man though, its controls were good, and it was still, even though it was shitty hard, and it was, as far as game design went, level design, I didn't care for just the meanness with which, right? You'd walk into a new screen, and the moment you stepped into that new screen, you'd get hit by something that would knock you back into the previous screen. It was
or they'd have those little moments, like in Mega Man 2, where there's like the lasers that you have to have the perfect timing to avoid, and as you're falling down, the lasers are still following you. And it's like you have to glide through the air while you're falling to just barely. That's like, thank God for save states in the modern era.
And there was no way. The other thing was the learn by dying. You just walk into a room and die, and then I guess I need to know not to. I need to know to duck the moment I set foot in that room. Like, it's just stupid crap. Like that said, I do give props to the original old school shitty hard platformers. Not to take anything away from, say, Super Meat Boy or whatever, but if it, like, when my kids says I want to see a really hard game, I'm gonna bust out the old school classics still, like Mega Man or Do you guys remember Ghosts and Goblins? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was another
Dark
one. That one,
Souls.
Ghosts and Goblins was more marred with play control issues, though. It was just very difficult to jump where you wanted to jump and not, you know what I mean? It was really awkward.
But
Whereas
Dark
Mega Man
Souls is the
didn't have
Dark
awkward
Souls of
controls,
hard
really.
games.
Yeah. Which is delayed on Switch till the summer.
Yeah, but it's out on everything else now.
And everyone here cares how much?
Yeah,
0.
very little.
Yeah.
Max will buy it because it's got knights and stuff.
I'm not planning on it.
I'm really
it's like Skyrim without dragons, or maybe there are dragons. So yeah, Mega Man. I mean, it looks kind of cool. The little trailer they showed for it. It looked a little sloppy, like it maybe wasn't as polished as it could be, but they've still got a little bit of time, I guess.
Yeah, I said it was
Put it
finally
out.
coming out, but it's October 2nd is the release date. So
I only saw the original trailer. I don't know if there's been another trailer since then, but it seems like it's an indie game. Like
it feels that way. I keep thinking
yeah.
indie creates, and then it's like, no, it's not indie creates.
It's Capcom, right?
It's Capcom. But as we all know, Mo will not buy this game because he's boycotting Capcom until we get Disney Afternoon on Switch.
Thank you. That's correct.
I like to mention that too because I feel
No DuckTales, no peace. Oh.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe they'll get around to it. That's been out for over a year on the other systems, though. So I don't know what's taking them.
Yeah, that seemed like
what else?
Could have been an early one for Switch. Yeah. So we got another Capcom title, and I think Z is the only one who's picked this up. And if you're following us on Twitter, you've already seen a tweet from Z on this. So
Eric will get it.
Street Fighter Collection. It's out today.
This is and it's pretty good. Apparently,
by the way, when we're recording.
Apparently we get a tournament mode on Switch in lieu of the Ultra Street Fighter 4 that they're getting elsewhere. And it's still, I've read some places that the PS4 gets it. I've read others it was Xbox and PC only. I don't know what the deal is, but all right, we get a tournament mode, and what that is if you have up to 8 Switches, there's like a bracket system that apparently existed in arcades. There were arcades that had multiple Street Fighter cabinets, and you could network them up so that it would do like a tiered system for tournaments. So you can do the same thing with the Switches, with multiple Switches, which is pretty cool.
Can count on no fingers the amount of times that their Switch room is me.
Well, okay, and I don't from what we understand, I guess I should have dug into this a little deeper. It is local only, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do we know that for sure?
Yeah.
It's local only for everything?
I believe so.
Well,
I think so.
Everything? Oh, that's terrible.
No, not for everything. No.
Oh,
well, Z, do you have the box?
What?
Wouldn't it? Do you have the box for it, or did you buy it digital?
We'll backtrack. It's got online play.
Oh, it does.
You can
just for one version, right? Or how many?
I'm talking about this tournament mode specifically, where you.
Okay, I didn't realize it had online play at all.
Oh no! Yeah, it's got full. It's got a full standard online play setup.
But is the online play for every version, or which versions?
As far as I know, yeah.
So could Eric play Alpha 2 online?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the other thing is the way I was poking around. I didn't actually go online, but I was poking around with the online settings. And what you do is, or at least for the default mode that I was doing, you pick 4 games and then you play rounds from all of those games.
Oh, okay.
So you play around, you play a set of rounds from Alpha 2, and then whatever ones you picked out of the set. But it looks like you can pretty much play them all. Any of them that are standard multiplayer fighting games, which I think they all are, seem to be have full. You can do a friend lobby. You can do general online rankings.
So you and Eric could play against each other to see who's the best.
That's true, Eric. You're gonna have to pick it up.
I guess so,
I don't know. Yeah. It was $32.
Talk him into anything except for Rocket League.
Yeah. It was It was $32 for as long as we still get our Best Buy deal. So it was, and you guys saw that thing I posted of how terrible that's why I bought it.
Oh
right
no,
there.
that's not correct. I'm looking at the website and it says this collection includes online enabled versions of Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So those are the
Oh, those are the
'cause
okay.
I remember reading that like what
Well,
was it,
thank you,
last year or something.
thank you for correcting that, because it seemed like you could pick different games, but
Well,
maybe
you can pick like
those are the
4 of them,
four.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I was misinformed, and it's Street Fighter, man. All I really did was play with I played the games locally. I'm never gonna go online with it because I'm gonna get my ass kicked.
Yeah, anybody who's going online with that game probably knows what they're doing. Although Eric had some success on the first Street Fighter game that came out
Yeah.
on Switch.
Yeah, I was doing all right on it.
That's because only suckers bought that one.
Which we really don't know though. I mean, we've never seen Eric's Street Fighter prowess.
Yeah, I'm sure
he might
you
be a
do.
wizard.
Are you gonna pick
Yeah.
this one up, Eric? Because if you do, we totally got to play, and I'm sure you will destroy me.
how are we gonna play if there's no online play?
Well, those 4 games.
You just said there is.
No,
Damn
I'm
it!
not gonna pick up
Foiled again.
for those 4. No.
Yeah, that's not awful.
Wait. So that's
Alpha 2?
that would be your selling point, is you have to be able to play every
Alpha
one of the
2
games
No,
on.
just Alpha 2. Well, how much is it?
On
Is
the
it like
list.
$40 like the other one, or is it 60?
It's 40, but
It's 40.
But you can get $8 off. Well, not anymore.
Well, he could send you the money, and you could buy it on Best Buy for him and ship it to his house.
Yeah, I guess I could buy it.
I'll charge you $8 shipping.
I guess I could buy it just so we could play each other like once and then never play it again.
Yeah, man.
If you make a recording of that, we'll pop it up on our Twitter.
Yeah.
But you can't though. You can only make a 30-second recording. I'll make it.
You could do
You think you could last longer than 30 seconds with Eric?
I don't. That's true. That's true. I'll record. Yeah, if I save it at the end, it probably will get the whole match.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Look at my online play here. Let me.
You
see
can
what my
record the
options
first
are.
30 seconds. He can record the last 30 seconds.
So online arcade. My options are. Oh, you're right. We got Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We got Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Street Fighter 3. Those are our 4 options.
Are any of those considered like definitive editions of the game?
Turbo,
yeah.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo is arguably the definitive edition. There were later versions of Street Fighter 2, but that's really the one that everyone considers the best, I think. So that,
except for Eric.
Yeah, except for me.
That's the one I would imagine that there are people who played for 30 years who would just utterly destroy you in.
Yeah.
All these other ones you might have a chance because they're obscure.
Yeah.
But that's every game.
That's true.
A fighter anyway.
All right.
It's always bigger fish.
Oh, this is interesting. Just a random point of note. At least the way the online arcade mode works.
Mm-hmm.
You just start playing through Street Fighter, and someone will randomly drop into your match.
Yeah, that happens in the other one too. What was the other one?
Oh yeah,
challengers.
So you can select how often. Like there's an average or more often or less often that you want somebody to drop into your match.
Oh, I think that's
a little weird.
But how does that work? Do you start with a computer? Like you start with a PC
and
then?
It's just like in the arcade, right? Where you'd start playing against the computer, and then if somebody walked up and dropped a quarter in, then they join the next match or whatever. You're fighting against them next round. So that's how this works. Is they'll just drop into your match randomly. Like you'll be fighting the computer for a couple rounds, and then all of a sudden it'll be a person, and then if you beat them, it's back to the computer for a couple rounds, probably until another person drops in.
And everybody puts in $40 worth of quarters right at the beginning.
32 if you were, on the disappearing bandwagon.
All right.
Exciting. Well, we're 2 weeks away from E3, everybody.
That's right. But before we get to our finals for the night, there is one more. We started out on a sort of letdown, so perhaps we should finish
But
on a
Pokemon?
letdown. This is almost as good as Pokemon, and that is, of course, Sushi Striker.
Yeah.
I think we have all played the demo now, and there is a little bit of good news.
I haven't been able to bring myself to it, but go
Me
ahead.
neither. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to say it's good news if you enjoyed the opening soundtrack there. You can buy both of them on May 30th, which is actually
the intro and the outro or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about demos, did I already miss the Mario Tennis Aces thing, or is that still coming up?
I think it's still coming up sometime. That's available as well, everybody.
Yeah, go
you can't
download
do
it.
shit with it.
It'll say this service is not available. But you can look at the
Just
menu.
like the ARMS test punch, you can't even play against the computer. Oh, there's an option to play against the computer. You just can't do it. But yeah, Sushi Striker. I was kind of half interested in this game just because I love puzzle games.
And you love sushi?
And I thought it would be like really cool. And I love sushi and plates. And
plates is what we all really love.
No, but really just puzzles out of all those things. And it's a little too deep for me. Like it's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I like puzzle games because I like to just kind of sort of turn off my brain and get into this zone where I'm just clearing lines of shit and watching stuff disappear.
Mhm.
And this one's got too much strategy. But I think people will like it. I think there are people, those people that I find online when I play like Puyo Tetris that just hand my ass to me. Those people will probably like this game because it's a puzzle fighter.
Yeah.
What did you think of it,
yeah.
Matt? I know you played it. Did you like the opening?
Yeah, I felt like I was watching an anime. It's got like a full story with it, which you don't always get with a little cartoony game like this.
You didn't just skip forward?
No, I watched the whole thing, and it got to actually playing. It's like, oh, this is what we have to do. Oh, okay. No, I liked it, so I had to actually play it.
Jason loved it.
I
That's how I
started.
felt about that tooth and tail game. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I mean, I like the first level or two. It's like this is okay, and it's like the more complicated it got, the more I did not want to play it.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Did you guys use your finger on the screen or?
Yes.
No, I used Pro Controller, baby.
I played twice, and I used controls once and finger the other time. I think
How
the
was it?
controls were
Better.
tighter.
Were they?
Yeah, I like
Touch controls were tighter, or the
No, the-
actual
the-
controller?
Yeah, using the Joy-Con.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably the case for most things.
Jason, do you have a Pro Controller?
No,
Okay. So if you did, you should use that. It's better.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have made much difference with this. I mean, far as just
With Sushi Striker, yeah, you're right.
Also, he's not hooked up to a TV, so he would be
Tabletop.
using it in tabletop with a Pro Controller, which I've
I've
tried
done that.
playing Rocket League that way, and
Well, I haven't done Rocket League
Couldn't.
that way.
the screen is so tiny on Rocket League.
I've done Odyssey that way and Street Fighter, the final challengers.
Online?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I can't do it with the Joy-Con. The sticks aren't big enough. I can't like throw a fireball consistently.
You can.
Anything I've played a lot of, I've tried in tabletop at some point, and
Yeah.
at least found it passable. Splatoon or Rocket League or whatever. Rocket League, I tried on my lap, like laying in bed, up on my knees, and it worked out. Holding the Pro Controller.
Yeah, I did play actually Splatoon tabletop.
Oh, you played Splatoon tabletop?
Yeah, I was at my mom's house, and I think I just had the Joy-Con.
But isn't
And
it
I
not
was-
as good?
Yeah, I set it up. I actually played it split Joy-Con in tabletop mode.
Yep.
It was playable, but I like it. I like the big screen. I want to see everything.
Splatoon, I wouldn't play tabletop because I use the. Well, actually, yeah, because I use the motion controls to. Well, I guess maybe.
But Jason and Max both are handhelders, and they play.
I know, but I know you tried
Splatoon 2.
You tried to play handheld, and it was terrible for Momo.
Yeah, it's just not the same to me. But also, they've been playing that way since launch, and they're used to it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I will say though, I have to make sure I have my reading glasses.
Yeah.
But Max, you have a HDMI cable that goes to a flat screen TV, to a HD TV.
Probably.
So you could hook it up to a TV, but you just play it.
He chooses not to.
You just wow.
What a weird world.
Just no interest, huh?
I think she likes the idea of being able to take it anywhere in the house.
Or is it where you already have your PS4 and your Xbox hooked up to your TV, so you don't want to like switch them up? Or you don't
we have a Switch box. We have PS3, PS4, and the Xbox 360 attached to the TV.
Do you not have a port for it?
My Wii is on the other TV.
So do you not have like an extra port for the Switch?
There might be. I just haven't really looked into it.
Oh, okay.
You really don't care.
She's happy with how it is.
I can play Splatoon while my husband is watching TV if I do it in handheld.
Can't you just be happy for her?
But you can play Splatoon on the TV while your husband wasn't watching TV.
Yeah. You could force him to read a book while you played video games. Or even better, you could do what I like to do, which is make a significant other just watch you play video games, uninterested for hours. Yeah, everybody plays different. That's the whole thing of the Switch.
Yeah, they nailed that.
Let me give you options.
So yeah,
moving on.
I think it's our time to close out for the night. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm sure this has been a extra long episode here, but we had lots of good news or bad news, however we want to look at it.
We would spin that as supersized. Oh,
supersized. Yeah, that's right.
Value for your money.
That's right. You got more pods in a minute. Since you paid absolutely nothing to watch this.
We include this podcast free with the cost of your internet.
That's right. That's right. So, but as always, thanks for tuning in and sticking with us, especially if you've made it all the way to the end. And as always, if you want to join in our conversation, which we all know you would want to, you can hit us up on Twitter at NOA_podcast. We'd be glad to talk to you. And of course, you can leave us comments here on YouTube where we record. And of course, you just want to listen in, you can do so on Stitcher and iTunes.
Tweet us and tell us that, did you know Nintendo Land is a game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get a tweet about that. We do realize Nintendo Land is a game. And as I told this nice person, it is also a people and a place. So
that's right.
Here's a quick question. Does anybody on this call right now not own a copy of Nintendo Land?
I do not.
I did, but I sold it.
Well, fair enough.
I still have it. Yeah, I still have it.
I don't think I do.
Wow, I'm surprised. I figured Jason and Max would have.
But Jason is not addressing a video game at the beginning of every podcast. He is addressing Nintendo Nation.
That's right. Nintendo Land is where we all live.
That's right.
We eat, breathe, drink Nintendo.
Yeah. And it might also be, very soon a segment of a Universal theme park, but for right now.
That's true. But by then we'll have some sort of sponsorship deal with them, and we'll have Jason welcoming people to the theme park.
Broadcasting live in location there.
What is up, Nintendo Land? Have you checked out the Mario Kart ride? Yeah.
You guys like trying to give me a job. You're desperate to get me that TV to hook my.
Oh, you'd love to work there.
Yeah.
Imagine all the Nintendo freebies. Anyway, good night, everybody.
I'd take that gig.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Good night.
Good one, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.